And good evening, everyone, to another episode of the OSR Tabletop live stream with DM Bloodworth. Um, it's been a little while since I've done one of these, so been anxiously awaiting to put together, kind of a combo of like an open mic and just let anybody come in and talk about any topic that they want, but also just to do a slightly different way of doing like box openings or mail calls or those kinds of things. So I'm going to probably jump right into that and start with a mail call. The last 2 weeks or so, I've gotten quite a few things coming through. One of which is a Kickstarter that I had backed. Oh my gosh, almost 7 years ago, and is still giving me more and more product from that Kickstarter. So that was really, cool to see, that I'm still getting things from a Kickstarter because they still continue to put out printed materials. And that's Monifius's Conan Roll D20, not Roll D20, 2D20. So I just got in the mail the other day The Shadow of the Sorcerers. So it's another source book. And this one might be primarily adventures. I haven't even broken the seal yet on it. So I will be doing a video opening this up. Also, I mean, DM James is a great go-to person for everything Conan 2D20 as well. So definitely check out his channel. But really looking forward to looking through this. I know some people might say, "Oh, Modifius has done this or that or whatever." They deliver really high quality stuff, and really can't complain about anything there. And like I said, this is a Kickstarter. The Conan Adventures in the Age Undreamed of is a Kickstarter that I backed for almost like $480 or something like that back in 2015. And so far they've delivered something like 22 books. I actually have to go and double check my count on there, like 22 hardcover books for $400 or $480 or whatever. You're averaging around, my math is terrible, about like $24 a book. You really can't go wrong with that. And considering the art and the gameplay, really awesome stuff. Hello, Ducato. Good to see you here. And Mr. Max Boyven, welcome back. Yeah, glad to be back. It's been a while since I've done live streams. I just getting into doing my regular videos, going through castles and crusades, and that's my next mail call item that I picked up. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done live streams, so great to have an open line for people to come in. So I put that invite out there. If any of you individually want to jump in, I can send you an invite where you can jump in as well. I have up to like 10 spots that I can issue out. I think it's 10 spots. But so if any of you want in, just throw it up in the private chat and I will send you the invite link. So the other thing, and there we have. Hey, Alan. How's it going?
How you doing?
How's it
It's
going?
a lot.
So, say again? Oh, I just lost your sound, Alan. I'll let you click back on again if you need to. But anyway, I also picked up in the mail today, actually, is Castles and Crusades in the Shadow of Offstrag. All right, so I wanted to get a copy of Castles and Crusades. I wanted to get one of the world books, and I wanted to get some examples of their adventure modules so that I can see kind of the format that they used in creating them. And that way when I write my own, then I can see if then I can see how to write my own adventures to kind of match or their style of adventure writing. So let's see. We got.
Hello.
Hey, Shoner, how's it going?
Good.
So
Yeah, you're in the same boat I'm in because I've been looking at all my RPG PDFs that I've gotten from drive-through over the years, and I'm looking
yeah,
at the formats because I want to write an adventure of some sort, and I haven't decided yet what it's going to look, what kind of fonts it'll look, what fonts it'll use, what table of contents it'll look like.
right.
I do know it's going to be the small 9x6 book. It's not going to be letter size book.
Right. Yeah, well, I actually looked. If you go on Troll Lord Games, who makes Castles and Crusades, they actually have a complete format of how you do it, and it's a little bit scary, because
Yeah.
the detail
There's a lot
of
of detail in those things.
exactly how they want it. So this is their style guide is like 8 pages. So I'm here. It's like everything has to be typed in 10-point Times New Roman font. You don't do stat blocks for everything. Everything is written in Word, including like most numerals as well. And then there's the brackets have to be a certain way, and everything has to be italicized. Certain things are in bold. Really complicated stuff.
Mongoose sent me like 20 different fonts I have to use, and the photo, not the Photoshop. What's the other one? The I can't remember now. Whatever they use for publishing these days. Maybe it is Photoshop. I don't know.
Publishing. What was that? Oh, there was that other one.
InDesign. It's called InDesign.
Oh, InDesign. Yeah. There's InDesign. Then there's another one that starts with an A that I tried using, and it was Affinity. Affinity is another one that's
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, Affinity.
Are you on Mac or Windows?
No, I'm on Windows 11.
Okay.
Yeah,
my machine won't run Windows 11. It's got the old chip in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I upgrade my computers like every 3 to 5 years because I get a 90% tax rebate on them because they're work related. So it's like work. But that's over with now because I'm retired, so I can't pull that off anymore. But yeah, so I just got a new computer around my birthday, around March, and so this came with a Windows 11, obviously, and I know I was looking at one of your videos earlier, and they had that text to talk that they were using in one of those playthroughs. And I heard that the one for Windows 11 is actually better than the one. I might try that. That might, I got to see how it actually works.
I didn't know that was even a Windows thing. I thought that was a plugin you had to get for Roll20 or something for that to even happen.
No, well, that's not Roll20 that they're using. But certainly
OBS,
not Roll20. That's OBS or
Foundry
or something else,
or Fantasy Grounds, or
that's something far beyond what I'm capable of doing. And I'll put it that way.
Did you notice that in the video it auto corrected what they were saying?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
it's like it's typing ahead what they're saying, and then whatever they finally say, that's what it finally prints. I thought that was the neatest thing ever.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean,
apparently that's Windows 11 does that.
Yeah, and I know that's what they're talking about. Like, I know, like when I run my games, I'm using Roll20 for all the visuals, but we use Discord for audio, and speech and everything. So Roll20, when they're typing into it, it would be so much better if you just had that display there and it did text to talk instead of having to type things in. But anyway,
the Facebook user says too many VTT.
Yeah, too many. Well, there's really only, as far as I know, there's
only 6.
There's 6. I think there's only 3. I mean, you have Roll20, which is, I guess,
Well, some of
the
them are
biggest
not
one.
virtual. They're virtual, but they're not virtual because you have the pool table in your living room, which is just a horizontal TV screen,
Right.
and that's your game board. And you
Oh,
put
I've
your
seen
minis
that
on
too.
that.
Yeah, I've seen
You can
that
put your
thing. Yeah.
minis on it, or you can have the
Yeah.
minis be graphics on the screen.
Yeah, I have seen that
They
one
they
before.
call those virtual tabletops too.
Yeah, that's like super high end, but I have seen that also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching a video when you were looking at the one guy using the DM screen thing, and I was like, yeah, it's all wood. It's all wood and everything. You know what? I got, let me see if I can reach it without
Maybe the guy
destroying
had some
everything.
kitchen cabinetry, like a back order that wasn't selling, and he wanted to unload it as as GM screen.
So this is my GM screen, right? So I just, poster, like one of those trifold, a
Yeah,
trifold
so your players
display,
have
right?
something
Something
to
to look
look
at.
at.
Yeah, I put on the one that I have the 8 panels. I actually put on the outside of it was this is just like a regular plastic sleeve, and then you could put like prices for equipment or
Yeah.
just player information. So they have 4 panels that they could look at, and then on the inside I have my 4 panels. One of those, one of these these styrofoam things costs
Yeah.
like $8. You make two
Yeah, for
two
Michaels.
complete, yeah, you make 2 complete boards out of it. I mean, combined, I'm getting 2 boards for all of the materials for like under $20, and with removable sheets that you can use them for everything. So yeah, make your own. I guarantee you those wormwood things are expensive. They're probably over $100 per. Like once you do all that stuff, I think
Oh yeah.
there
I was
was
doing the
like the
math in my
dice tray
head.
alone was like $35, right?
It looked like $1,900 for the whole thing.
Holy crap. That's
Depending
insane.
depending on what
Hmm.
wood you used.
Yeah, for
And
$1,900 you can
the
for
shipping cost would kill you right
yeah,
now.
that's crazy. Well, anyway,
But my guilty pleasure though was
yeah.
that I did like the way you can do a secret roll or a public roll.
Yeah, that was cool. That tower was cool.
That was neat.
Yeah, the tower actually made it was like, wow, that's a pretty cool thing. All the other crap was nonsense, but the tower alone,
But to
having
be
that was
honest,
pretty neat.
at my game shops, just the folding plastic game screen with the plastic sleeves to put your own custom sheets in, those are expensive. They're like $50, $60 just for that. You still have to print out your sheets to slide in the things.
Yeah. Let's see. So, Ducato, you got the GM's Guide to the Haunted Highlands from eBay. I'm not sure if it's even in print anymore. They usually bring their stuff out in print pretty quickly. So yeah, Castles and Crusades is like my new really go-to game, or at least it will soon become my go-to game. Oh, I lost Shoner, or at least I lost his video. So that's something that I'm really looking to start running in a couple of weeks, and that's I mean, the system is just awesome. Really, really like it. I just picked this up. So for $26, it was on sale, but for $26, I didn't know that it came in a huge, box like this. But I got so this is an adventure series. So it's listed A0 through 5, I believe, or 1 through 5. But I got the player's guide to Aird, I guess is how you pronounce it. So this was
How's
normally
it
like
spelled?
$20. AIHRDE.
Okay.
Aired, I guess. I don't know. I'll wait for someone else to say it so that maybe I'll have an idea. Probably everybody mispronounces it anyway. But Player's Guide for $10. So it's like, all right, and this is just the player's version of the world guide. So I needed to get that. I have to get the regular the world guide for it, the codex. But in the box came so this is the adventure booklet. So this is all, basically all 5 adventures thrown in here. And like you were saying earlier,
Are you getting those from drive-through?
no, I got these direct from Troll Lord Games.
Okay.
Yeah. So they run sales. Like I got all of this on sale. So they run sales, and then although I didn't utilize it, they also do things for like veterans. They give like a veterans discount, which definitely got to take advantage, of that. But the other thing I like about this is that the maps come in a separate booklet as well. They're in the adventure, but then you have them, separately on the outside, that you can have this in front of you as well. So that's kind of neat. Plus, you can run these off, easily copy them and then share them out, with the players, either at the time, like the city map, I would do that with, and the regional map. So that's nice. They have specifically for this particular region that this adventure is going in through, they have encounter tables, for that particular region. So I guess every time you buy a region set, it'll come with all of these little components. And then this is either a regional or a world map that comes inside the box. And the box is pretty sturdy too. I always have a hard time getting the map out of there. But there's the map. So the whole set, everything was like $26. So really can't go wrong with that. Yeah, it was a nice sale. It was definitely half off on this, and it might even been half off on the or $10 off on the adventure box.
So I thought maybe you did like a bundle of holding where you save money, but you don't get all the stuff. You get some of the stuff.
Yeah, you get like samples of everything. Yeah, to get a flavor of it. No, I did that. I picked up a whole bunch of I thought it was sets of the core books. So like I thought I got the oldest ones that were out there. They were probably second printing, and Troll Lord Games are a little bit confusing with they use printings instead of editions, and there's not a huge difference between one printing and the next. And
printings have errata fixes.
Yeah, that's usually or format changes or those kinds of things. The only difference was in 2010. So for the player's handbook, that's when I believe James Ward came on and started doing some changes to the encumbrance system and such like that. So there's a definite change from third printing to fourth printing as far as game mechanics are concerned.
Well,
but then thereafter,
that happened? Was that like 4 years ago?
2015, I want to say is. Let me see. Let me see when that came on. I believe it's this.
Because around that time was when a lot of old companies were doing Kickstarters to come out with a new edition or a reprint of the first edition.
Yeah, this is the 6th printing. All right, and this is 2014. So, but it was around then, I believe, that so it was 4th printing was the one that made that change. So I think it's hard to tell because they'll have a 3rd printing of the player's handbook, and at the same time, a 2nd printing of the Castle Keeper's Guide will come out. The different books don't have the same print schedule. It's when they ran out of that stock, they released another printing. And along the way, like you said, sometimes the only difference is errata. So I would have probably been better off getting the very, very first printings and then the most recent, and not the ones in the middle.
One thing I noticed is that every time D&D comes out with a new edition, everyone wants to get on the bandwagon and reprint or make a new edition of one of their old games, like Tunnels and Trolls, or what was the other one? The RuneQuest or Cthulhu, or some companies like Cthulhu are sort of like their momentum is still going. So they still have interested customers, and they make just a certain amount of printings to run out, to sell out, in hopes of doing another Kickstarter, get people interested again to buy another book.
Right.
They just keep that snowball rolling.
Yeah.
They're not waiting for the next D&D 6 or 7 to come out to say, "Hey, remember us? We were famous too. We're going to kickstart, Gangbusters, or we're going to kickstart the old Star Wars, what was that one? Before the saga, what was the first one? East something games.
West End Games.
Or
West End Games.
Yeah.
WEG.
What if they ever showed up and said, "Hey, we're going to reprint the original Star Wars role-playing game"? Something like that. It might happen. The Squirrel Hermits. What does he say?
Hey, Squirrel Hermit. Hey, thanks a lot, Squirrel. I'll reach out to you and see. Yeah. I don't like to take anything for free off anybody. Certainly not.
He's always showing good stuff on his channel.
Yeah, I know. I watch his channel all the time. He has awesome stuff.
He has ivy growing in his room or house or something. The creeping Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah, he does awesome stuff. Shadow and Sun does great stuff too. I mean, he has so many, just incredible miniatures and things like that he spends a lot of time. I mean, there are so many. Ducato has a great channel to check out if you want to see, different methods on the firing range. That's awesome stuff. I mean, I'm a big enthusiast of that as well. So it's a nice mix of really cool channels that follow this channel, and I follow something like 400 channels. So obviously it takes me a long time to get to everybody's, on any kind of a rotation. But
every once in a while I have to get rid of some subscriptions if they're not active, and then I resubscribe to them the minute they start posting again. So I'm always like between 500 and 600, 700 subscribe things I'm following. So who's on here? I don't see our names. Something happened.
So we have.
Did I cause a glitch or something?
No, we have. Alan is one of my players. He plays a paladin in my AD&D first edition. He keeps on losing his device connection. He lives in the Carolinas, I believe. He's probably has a storm. It's like let's see.
Virginia.
There he goes. I hear you. Oh, West Virginia. I knew it was someplace down south. So, and then we have Mirador is he plays a cleric in my AD&D first edition game, and now he's been playing an illusionist thief gnome character, which he wants to recreate or has recreated for Castles and Crusades as well. So
an illusionist thief gnome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that like 3 classes or 3 races?
No, that's 1 race and 2 classes. Since yeah, that would have just been a class in old school D&D, but then around AD&D first edition they started allowing race and class for demi-humans. So and Castles and Crusades kind of allows for that as well. Although it looked like the player's guide for their world setting, though, they do have certain classes that are based on race alone.
Apparently there's another book that has more classes. It's called like the Player's Backpack or something.
Yes. The Adventurer's Backpack has additional classes as well. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole because I fall into that, like insane. It's like, then all of a sudden I have to get everything. So I'm going to try to just stick to the core, the core 3 or 4 books. let's see. I have another private chat. Yes, Alan mentioned in the private chat about West End Games. Star Wars is probably still the most well thought of Star Wars RPG out there.
Still has a huge following.
Yeah, still has a huge following. I don't think that no one has beat it.
Do you guys think that Boot Hill needs to have a reprint of some sort?
Sure. The only Western that I have right now is from Mark Hunt did Tall Tales, and it's basically Boot Hill but on the BX engine. You know what I'm saying? So it's and he did the same thing with Gangbusters. He basically took Gangbusters and did a basic version of Gangbusters, and it's an awesome system. And I believe he's supposed to come out with an expansion to that, to take it up to the next level. But yeah, no, he did a great job on this. I mean, this has a very, very simple system that's easy to follow, and just cool.
Yeah, his cool Gangbusters stuff. I didn't know if he owned Gangbusters or if he was allowed to say Gangbusters.
Yeah, he was allowed to say it.
When you just use the open license, you're not allowed to say what the game's for that you're writing for. Isn't that weird?
He was. I think it's because it's not Gangbusters, it's Gangbusters BX. You know what I'm saying? I guess they couldn't do anything. They might not have been able to trademark the name Gangbusters. It might have pre-existed. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't trademark Band-Aid anymore.
I'm going to trademark Air.
It's like,
but I have to spell it AYR or something.
Yeah. Actually, that's probably you probably can't even do that anymore either. But there's
someone owns it. A bot already bought it already. Yeah, he's sitting on it, waiting for someone to want it.
Yeah,
but I think with Traveler, you can't say Traveler. You have to say the most classic 70s sci-fi role-playing game ever, or you have to say 2D6 system. Yeah. Same with D&D. You can't say D&D in your game.
No, you have to say the world's greatest, or the world's greatest.
Any fantasy dice game from the 70s will do. Yeah. There was only like one or two back then.
Or you just they just say 5e now because they can't trademark 5e. It could mean anything. And a lot of companies have 5e. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but they know what they're talking about.
But now they do D and then the letter N and then D.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's getting past something.
Yeah. Well, you can't use the ampersand. That's the other thing. The ampersand itself is trademarked.
Like Walmart, they had to change their logo. They had something, I can't remember what it was, but now it's a little star. That's their logo.
Oh,
now.
Really? All right. Well,
it was either a hyphen they were trying to do. They can't trademark the hyphen, or they were trying to do another symbol between Wall and Mart, and they ended up putting it. Anyway, it's weird. Companies, have you noticed, just have one character now? That's their brand. Like Amazon has the A. The A. Apple has the bitten apple. Netflix has their weird N thing. McDonald's has the arches. It's just one thing. One thing. Yeah. So when you start your company, your RPG company, DM Bluddworth, what's your one symbol brand going to be?
Well, right now I'm just using Arcel Gaming Publications, and that's it. Okay. It's just it's a D20 with Arcel across it. That's it.
Remember what they did to who was the lady that made the pancake syrup? What was her name? Aunt Jemima. Was it Aunt Jemima or was it Mrs. Blood? Mrs. something?
Oh, Buttersworth.
Buttersworth.
Mrs. Buttersworth.
One of the two got canceled. So now
Well-
when you go to the store to buy the syrup, it's called the Mills something.
Yeah,
company.
that's Aunt Jemima. They took Aunt Jemima off. They took the Land O'Lakes Native American woman off. They took Uncle Ben off. They basically took all of these iconic.
Is Gerber
wholesome-
baby? Is she?
Oh no, Gerber
she or
baby
he's
is
still
still
on there?
allowed to be there because it's a white
Aye.
baby.
Aye.
So it's like you couldn't culturally appropriate anything. But what got me was, even if you look at like the Washington Redskins or maybe you could argue the Cleveland Indians is more of a caricature, but all of those icons were cast in a very positive light. I mean, they were, it just didn't make sense that they were like, oh, we're going to remove all of these things. I laughed. I was like, what they should have done was they should have replaced every single one of those icons with like a corporate looking white male. All right. And they would have drove them nuts. I was like, okay, we'll just throw somebody, if you really want to piss them off, we'll just replace everyone with Donald Trump smiling, and everything. And that would have blown their freaking minds. But
what was the first thing that got canceled that you can remember?
Back in the day? Well,
in your whole lifetime, what was the first thing you noticed getting
the one
canceled?
that stands out was WWF had to change from World Wrestling Federation because that was the World Wildlife Federation. And that's when they changed to WWE. That's the first time.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that.
I
thought it was just a whole different company.
No, they had to change. They got sued by the World Wildlife Federation over the logo, the WWF logo, and that's when they changed to WWE. And that was when, like in the 90s or maybe early 2000s?
I want to say that the early 90s when stuff started happening, like Speedo Gonzalez, he got canceled.
Yeah, somebody just put that down there. Speedo Gonzalez.
Speedy Gonzalez. Mel Blanc did the character voices for those things, and they were Mexicans loved that character.
I know.
He was Speedy Gonzalez, angle, things.
You used to be able to go to Mexican restaurants, they'd have something on the menu called a Speedy Gonzalez. Now it's something else.
They were upset.
Meal or something,
No, it's never.
Weren't the Indians upset when one of the football teams was getting canceled? It's like, come on, we have a great football team. Why are you changing the name?
It's like I said, all of those figures, all of those iconic images, they were all positive. They were all wholesome. They were all, and they were so long lasting too. I mean, 50 plus years for virtually every one of them. And all of a sudden, some middle-aged white woman complained about them and got them removed. I mean, that's your typical Karen came out and said, "Oh, we're going to save them." Yeah,
they have a PhD in
gender studies and
the one after that one. What was that? What's it called when something indigenous? Anything that starts with indigenous, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm from the indigenous something or other group. Oh no. They're going to complain about the plants in your yard not being indigenous to the area.
Yeah. Well, they run into trouble sometimes with their own groups when they start saying, "Well, this is not indigenous." Well, a lot of people coming in aren't indigenous either. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, what was Uncle Ben? I don't remember Uncle Ben. Was that the rice one?
Yeah, Uncle Ben's rice.
So what is that called now in the store? Just rice?
No, it could still be called Uncle Ben's, I guess, but it just has I don't know.
A buck of rice. Rice is expensive now, probably. So the Blackhawk logo is still holding strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see.
No Blackhawks have been offended yet. Or
and
is it a
no,
bird or is it something else?
no, it's it might be an India. It might
A
be a
guy with a
tribe.
tomahawk?
Yeah, no, that's
A
that was
guy
the
with a
Atlanta
bow and arrow?
Braves, and they yeah, I don't know exactly what their logo looks like.
A guy with wings?
No, it's not a guy with wings. It might just
Now
be
what
an
happened?
Indian
Okay,
head.
the Eskimo. What was that one? Was that the Eskimo pie thing? Is that
German
gone
rock band
now?
Eskimo Cowboy had to change
I
their
can't
name
keep up
to
now.
Electric Cowboy.
It's just going to be yellow
Hey,
wrap.
Cowboy,
Remember
cowboy,
yellow wrap?
cowboy.
I heard this week they're going to stop making the Choco Taco. Is that because it's really not profitable or because it's being canceled? That's
I
the
didn't know that
chocolate
existed.
The
I
chocolate
didn't know
taco.
that existed until
Yeah.
2 days
somebody
ago.
insulted because it's called a Choco Taco and it's getting canceled, or is it
They
because
probably
it really doesn't sell?
No, they're probably getting rid of taco because you know, Jill Biden's slip up, you know, and saying they're not the right kind of taco or something like that, or whatever she said. And that's what they're probably they're going to cancel the word taco.
At work, I heard someone say, "Oh, they canceled the Choco Taco." So I'm thinking, "Oh, Taco Bell's not selling something anymore." So I'm trying to imagine what their Choco Taco even looked like. I didn't know it was ice cream. I'm thinking a taco with chocolate on it.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's so weird.
I had to look it up, and then I saw it, and I've never seen one of those. They don't sell them in San Diego, as far as I know.
Well, I haven't been in a Taco Bell in God knows how long anyway. So I wouldn't
Maybe
even
in
know.
Los Angeles, they're a thing. I'll have to ask Shadow and Son if his neighborhood has had those things. I'm guessing up north.
Let's see, what else could we get a chatter going? Hey, so I haven't on my channel spoken at all about the Honor Among Thieves trailer. All right. So I haven't spoken about it at all, other than you know, on Garabay's channel, I basically said, you know, I anticipate that it will be a fun you know, action-packed kind of a movie, but it is going to be basically shallow and, you know, just for pure entertainment alone.
No one's going to die?
No one will die. I will be.
Not even the Chinese guy?
No one is going to die.
Remember in the 90s, the black guy always died in the sci-fi film?
No one's going to die in this. There absolutely will not be anyone dying in this. I don't even think Hugh Grant being the villain in this, I doubt he'll die.
Was he in the trailer? I don't even remember him.
Yes, he was. He was in the trailer. You just saw him like presiding over the stadium. I guess they were having like a gladiatorial stadium.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I had watched the trailer a number of times, and I'm looking at it, and you know, I'm sure I push Garabay's buttons every once in a while, you know, when he sees, but there, you know, when he sees things strictly through his lens and none other. And, you know, when I'm looking at it, I was like, listen, there's quite a bit of Pathfinder in this. All right. And I know that would drive him nuts, you know, to say it, but the facts are the facts. All right. And it's why they had to pull their promo posters, was because they used the image of the Intellect Devourer from Pathfinder and not from D&D. All right. And even Frank Metzner.
Intellect Devourer?
Yes.
What is that? What did that look like in the movie?
It's a brain with 4 legs on it, but in the movie, and I guess on the poster, it has a mouth with you know, with a tongue on it and everything. And in D&D, it doesn't have that. It's just a brain. You know, there is no mouth on it. You
so
know,
they're playing a homebrew version of D&D in the movie.
No, they're using a Pathfinder image of it, because they use Pathfinder on the poster. The Pathfinder image of it on the poster.
I need to watch that one again.
So they had to pull the poster because I guess that's a Pathfinder property that they put on there. The other thing about the Druid character in it. First of all, she doesn't look like a tiefling. Tieflings are supposed to have different colored skin. She's just regular white skin color to her.
Cosplay. She's a
yeah,
hillbilly. She looks like a hillbilly.
yeah, but she's that's more of she could be like a semi-fae that you have in Pathfinder.
The
And
gypsy?
no, they can't use gypsies. They can't use gypsies anymore. But
Where are gypsies called now?
You can't call them gypsies anymore. It's like, but she's a Pathfinder Druid, just like in the first season of Critical Role. I mean, Critical Role first season was Pathfinder. It was not D&D. They only shifted to D&D because they, probably figured we'll get more viewership if we call ourselves D&D. But her character is the fact that her character can shapeshift into a owl bear is something that's not permissible in D&D, at least not yet. They're going to retroactively, change the rules now. But that's a Pathfinder thing, so they're already showing elements of, Pathfinder or just other fantasy role-playing games, not exclusively D&D. And that's probably because the writers probably know very little about D&D. At least, not sure that they do, or it hasn't been.
Who at Hasbro even knows about D&D anymore?
Probably only the one that moved up to Hasbro from Wizards of the Coast. What's his name? Cox. When Cox got promoted from WotC to Hasbro, he's probably the only one. And even then, I mean, his name probably doesn't appear on anything D&D wise. Maybe Magic the Gathering. That's something that some people out there don't really grasp, or they don't want to grasp it, is that
did they ever make a movie of that game?
Magic the Gathering? They should.
Probably you think it'd have bigger audience?
Do better. Oh, absolutely.
It'll have more hate because the audience would know more about the game than the studio would?
No, because the audience wouldn't look for anything beyond just adventure, combat, that kind of thing. I mean, it's a battle card game, so they're going to look for tons of, it would be like watching Street Fighter, any other nobody complained about the Street Fighter movies, because what were you getting? You were getting fighting, even though they were terrible movies. I mean, and with great actors, and still produced terrible movies. Who was that guy? Raul Julia was a phenomenal actor, but in the Street Fighter movie, it was corny. I'm Jeremy Irons in D&D.
Dennis Hopper, was he in that one?
He was in Super Mario, wasn't he?
Or maybe it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper, I think might have been the bad guy in Super Mario.
I'm getting my 80s video games confused.
Hasbro doesn't have many IPs. Yeah, they do have they have Power Rangers,
G.I. Joe,
and one other. And notice they did not have Wizards of the Coast make the Power Rangers or the G.I. Joe tabletop role-playing game. And you have to ask the question, why didn't they? And that's probably because those are especially Power Rangers is a Japanese licensed game, right? Or Japanese license.
It was a one shot.
Yeah, and they weren't going to let it go woke because it wouldn't sell in Japan. And Transformers is their other IP. Yeah. So and they didn't make the Transformers game either. So those 3 games that they came out with, none of them are being made. I don't think there is a Transformers tabletop role-playing game yet, but the other two was not WotC, so they didn't keep it in house. They made a battleship movie. Yeah, that was a stupid movie though. I mean, it wasn't very good. It was bad. That was with Rihanna and some other guy, some guy that did a couple other. I only know the guy from
You know about the Asylum movies, right?
Asylum.
Asylum films. Whenever a blockbuster comes out,
yeah.
Asylum makes the cheap knockoff of the movie. And it goes straight to DVD.
Yeah.
And they use a similar name for the movie, so
Right.
people get confused and they buy it by accident, thinking,
yeah.
so instead of Transformers, it's Transmorphers. That kind of
Transformer. Yeah, Transmorphers.
So it's the low budget version. So yeah, like Battle Los Angeles, then you have Battle for Los Angeles. So you got to be careful when you buy the movie that you're getting the correct film.
I don't think it's Liam Neeson, although he's in like 6,000 movies.
I can't remember the guy's name.
Wasn't it Josh Duhamel or something like that? The guy that was married to Fergie, and he was in Vegas.
Atlantic Rim was better than Pacific Rim? What? Shots fired.
I didn't see either, so I couldn't tell you.
No, Pacific Rim's good, but do not watch the sequel. Whatever you do not watch the sequel to Pacific Rim.
I was just looking at a video. Well, not a video, just a meme actually, where they were talking about Stranger Things 4 and how so the character Hopper in Stranger Things, is his first name Jim? Because I saw this like conjecture where Jim Hopper is mentioned as a special forces operative that served with Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Predator, and so so they were trying to make a connection between the character name being in both things. Like Hopper is somebody who escapes like all kinds of stuff, and they, it was just probably like a fan conjecture that's why they used the name Jim Hopper in Stranger Things 4, was to eventually make that tie to Predator 1.
What year is
87, both are 87. So Predator takes
87?
place, Predator 1 takes place in 87, and Stranger Things 4 is 86 or 87. I think 86.
Oh, okay. So I haven't watched Stranger Things, so I thought it might still be in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, no. Stranger Things is 83 to 86. Okay. That's season 1 through 4.
So it's like Mad Men then, because Mad Men was 58 to 71.
Mm-hmm.
So each season would kind of skip a few years ahead.
Yeah.
So the styles would change in each season, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, Stranger Things, the first season was good. The second season was meh. It was okay. Third wasn't, all that. I mean, third was kind of bizarre. You ended up, as a gamer, I kept on saying, when are they going to shift to Cthulhu? Because they obviously did the D&D thing. I thought they were going to shift to Cthulhu, at some point. The fourth season was actually the best of, certainly better than 2 and 3. Probably on par, maybe even a little bit better than season 1. But it's definitely worth a watch. I would binge watch it if you're not already subscribed to Netflix, but I would certainly give it a shot if you can.
But that D&D trailer, I don't know much about D&D. It's been thousands of years since I played the game. But I did right away notice the gelatinous cube thing the guy jumps into to avoid something chasing him. And the mimic.
Yeah,
that was neat.
The mimic was really done well. I know some people criticize it. It was like, no, if you were getting chased down by a displacer beast, the last thing you would do is jump into a gelatinous cube to avoid it. You'd rather be killed by the displacer beast than by the gelatinous cube.
Max is testing. The yeah, you're right. I mean, the trailer doesn't show what happens next. It just shows them. I think maybe it was an accident because the cube is transparent. That he jumps. He was jumping out of the way. Maybe he didn't know the cube was right next to him.
Oh, that's
when
possible,
he
I guess.
So now he's in a worse predicament.
I don't know why. I wouldn't have you blocked, John or Max. Why would you be blocked? Are you blocked from YouTube?
Blocked? Blocked from life.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have you blocked. So
how do you block someone from StreamYard?
I don't know. Well, he's trying to come through YouTube, I guess. I don't have anybody blocked. Well, I only have one person blocked on YouTube.
Does StreamYard have a block feature?
I would assume it does. Yes. Yes, you could block a user, but I don't have you blocked. But Max, if you want to jump in, let's see.
Unless YouTube has his account on
Yeah.
Like, go to your room, Max, for a week for your insolent behavior on your streams, and maybe he's logged in as that, trying to get to StreamYard.
I sent that to
StreamYard's
Alan.
thinking he's going to start a stream. It's like, no, you're not going to start a stream. Not on my server. But he just wants to be an end user here. He doesn't want to be the host.
I'm trying to figure out how to just invite. I put it on your Discord as well, Max.
Oh.
If you want to jump in, I put
He's
it
talking
on.
about another universe.
Yeah, I put it on your Discord.
Where's he been spamming 15 posts?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Now you can't link or anything.
Let me see. Let me open up YouTube and see.
Yeah, watch this stream on your YouTube channel, and then
that's what I'm doing.
Unhide all of his 15 posts. Maybe he just typed so darn fast he spammed himself. Set him to slow.
I don't see that
he types faster than he thinks. That's what got him.
I don't think he's.
Look for Legion of Myth.
Yeah, he's not blocked at all. Yeah, let me check Legion of Myth and see if I have them blocked. Shouldn't. Oh, let's see. No, I'm subscribed to him.
Is he muted? Did you?
He's not muted. No, he's not muted. Max, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an invite. No, you're not muted either. I don't get it.
Here, send him the Yardstream link. See if he gets in.
Yeah, let me see how I can do that.
Throw him the idol. He'll throw you the whip.
I'll put it in your Discord, Max. So let's see. How do I have you listed in Discord? Here, Max, I'm putting it in your Discord link.
I think he's had his machine turned on for probably a month straight without a reboot.
No, he said he just rebooted it. All right, Max, I just put it in the one where you have 9 members, and let's see if I just have you by yourself.
Doing computer tech support on a live stream. Lovely.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna message it.
Viewers just dropped. He killed the stream.
I just sent it to you direct, Max, in Discord, so you could jump in at any time. All right. No, we still got. So you're not muted. All those Windows use it. It's not needed for reboot. Okay.
Too many discords. Too many discords to keep track of.
Yeah, too many. And too many channels and everything. So for a long time, and I still try to do it, but I used to practice like complete reciprocity. You join me, I join you. Kind of did the same thing on like Twitter, where it's like, my followers and my follows are almost, straight across the board. So here we go. Now we got Max with that little crying baby face on him.
Yeah, I don't have you don't want to see me right now. Plus, I don't have my lights or anything on. So I'm trying to edit a lot of last night's stream for just the Discami portions and make a video from the fundraiser we covered last night.
Oh, okay.
But it's annoying as hell to edit a 6-hour live stream.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a pain.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with why you're having trouble.
It's weird because I can't remember if your channel or not, but I remember this happening. And I want to say it was your channel during a recent live stream that you had like a couple weeks ago. And I got muted somehow or blocked. And I tried to send you a message, but it wouldn't get through to you. And I said, I'll just tell him on Discord or something later. I may have actually done that.
Yeah, that's so weird because, like I said, there's only one person, and you probably know who that is, that I blocked.
That name was blocked on my Discord for months and nobody said it. And then one of our members got timed out. I was like, what did I do to get timed out? I was like, wait, I don't have any words set up. I don't block people. I don't censor people. And like, oh, wait, I did that as a joke.
Yeah, no, there's only one person I blocked. And that's it. And your name is kind of close to his. So, but no, that's the only one.
I'm trying to scroll back here because I thought I sent a message to somebody on Discord saying, hey, I'm already back 6 months for messages with you. That's just weird because I sent a bunch of messages, me being me, and nothing popped up. And I was like, wow, somebody should have responded at least a hello or something. So I refreshed it. All of my comments were gone.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Now I got now I'm on the panel, so screw everyone.
Now you're on the panel, so now you don't have to worry about it. So hey, what's your take on that? Have you seen the D&D trailer?
Yes. I've actually done 2 videos on it. Yeah. Well, we covered it on RPG Digest last week, and we watched it again last night because some people wanted to watch it with me. My take. I'll be quick about this unless you have any specific questions. My take is I'm so sick and tired of these little buddy flicks. I don't need to see Guardians of the Dungeon. I'm not interested in that. I want to see something more, Lord of the Rings oriented. We've got Dragonlance Chronicles, we have Dragonlance Legends, we have the Ravenloft books, we have the Avatar trilogy. I know that those actual things won't be covered because they're previous editions, but you get my point with the type of movie it could have been. Instead, we get another little buddy flick. Yay. Other than that, I mean, I want to complain about the tiefling in there, but let's be honest, it's 5e. That's what you're going to get.
I don't think she's a tiefling.
She's got horns.
So do druids in Fey druids do in Pathfinder.
Okay, that's even worse.
And the druid in Critical Role is a Pathfinder druid, and she has horns.
That's even worse.
Not a tiefling, yeah.
I hate everybody right now. Thanks.
No, wait. I want to bring up something.
I feel bad because of the Traveler. Trailer.
Wait, I wanted to bring this up because I forgot to bring it up when Shona was just on by himself. In one of your recent videos, you had pink hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to fit in with the audience that loves
I was like,
that subject.
Did he? I think he put the gender. Well, no, you didn't have the non-binary lighting behind you though. There was just the pink hair. I was like, wait, what did he do?
Wow,
Yes,
it had
would
some
you
kind of a
prefer
color
this
filter.
movie is Planescape, Mr. Max. I mean, in my eyes, I see this movie as Planescape. Like it's just as cartoonish nonsense. But
I blame Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell,
I never saw that one.
and I blame The Rock with his
Scorpion?
remakes. Yeah, his remakes of he's in those movies like the 3D movies. They're all adventure things. Right after King Kong in 2005, King Kong came out with Jack Black. That was fine, but after that, everything became a comedy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not Planet of the Apes.
And then Tony Stark was a comedian now. All of a sudden, in the first Iron Man movie, Tony Stark is a comedian.
Yeah,
He was never a
Jumanji,
comedian.
Max, Mr. Max.
Yeah, the Jumanji and the other board game. What was that one called? Xenatar or something?
I thought you were going to say the Clue movie.
Could have been, but those.
And then he did that Jungle Boat River one, the Jungle Boat
Jungle Book,
River thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that one might be good actually.
I mean, it was
because
okay,
Jungle Boat,
the
Jungle Boat
not...
ride is so boring. You have to jazz it up somehow. And I like that blunt chick, even though she hates white American dudes. But she's a good actress.
What? Who's that? That's like all of them. You have to be more specific than that.
White American. No, that's a very specific group right there. It is white American, not Democrat. White American.
What was the movie he did though that was good with was it The Chase Down? The Chase Down, I think it was called, or something like that, or Chase Down, or where he played like a bounty hunter, and the guy from what's his name was in it too. Christopher Walken was the bad guy in it. That was a good movie.
Sounds cool.
I think it's called The Chase Down. It was fun. It was like a funny action kind of movie, but it really worked well. The guy from American Pie was in it. Stifler from American Pie was in it.
I don't remember who that is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie since it was in the theater.
So,
but yeah, I blame Will Ferrell. And then when I saw Tony Stark being a comedy relief or whatever, I thought, what? Now every Marvel character is going to have to be a comedian? Yes.
I can tell you that didn't bother me just because I don't know the comics, so I didn't know any better. But knowing that now, I find that upset. I'm an IP purist. I don't like people changing IPs.
Tony Stark was like a DeLorean.
Yeah.
He was back in the 60s, everyone drank, everyone smoked, everyone flirted, fooled around with their secretaries. It was like Mad Men. That's how they should have done Tony Stark. Okay. But give him billions of dollars. He's like Howard Hughes. And he's an inventor. Just like his father. And because his dad wasn't funny in the was it the second Iron Man movie where he goes and digs around in the World's Fair and finds the source of something that he needed for something. I can't remember now, but he finds old footage of his dad talking back in the old Disneyland years. And his dad was super serious, which was cool. Anthony Hopkins was deadly serious as Odin. But his kid was serious in the first 1.5 movies, and then Ragnarok comes along, and all of a sudden Thor's a comedian, and so's the Hulk. And what's going on? And Will Ferrell was in one of those movies, wasn't he? With Jeff Goldblum. Weren't they?
I think I have the answer
Marvel
to your
movie?
question as to why they're all comedians now. Stan Lee's dead.
Right.
Nothing to hold him back.
Oh, that's true. Because he was usually the comedy relief, right? He would show up in every movie.
Yeah, for like
Yeah,
5
cameo.
seconds.
Happening.
Mm-hmm. He would do a cameo in every movie.
And now that he's dead, they're going to still have him in the movie, just a CG character. So people are fussing and fighting about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like, looking at the trailer, you can already see right from the trailer, they're going to make Chris Pine's character the butt of all the jokes. He'll be the reason why, if there is any any issues with it running smoothly, it'll be his fault. I'm saying it's like everything will be.
He's the lecherous bard, right?
Yeah, it'll be everything. He's the fool, he's the clown, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the druid girl, because she's an up and rising star. She was in It. She was that's the only place I know her from, was from It. So she was the girl in It, and she'll save the day. That's just my prediction. She'll save the day. It'll come down to her.
Here's a depressing fact about Chris Pine. In Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Pike meets Kirk in the future, but they didn't have Chris Pine playing Kirk. That would have been absolutely phenomenal.
No, they had Stefan from the Vampire Diaries instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who played Stefan from the Vampire Diaries. Yeah, okay, great.
No one can take the role. Wait, let me correct this here. No one can take the role of Michelle Rodriguez, because Michelle Rodriguez is Michelle Rodriguez in every movie she does. All right, you cannot take over her role. She is who she is, and she plays exactly the same character. So in every Fast and the Furious movie, she's a one-dimensional character. When she was in Blood Rain, I think Blood Rain 2, same character. She's the same character. She's the same in every single movie she goes to. She is Michelle Rodriguez.
I do want to talk about one thing about her, though, that a lot of people have been clamoring about, talking about when she throws that dude. Anybody who's taken any martial arts knows that is actually a very legit move. It is a judo move.
I'm sure.
I'm not saying you said that, but there are a lot of people out there like, oh, no way that she could do that, barbarian. She better have a 45 strength. Nope. Anybody who's taken judo can do that move.
She can't just flat out pick up some heavy dude.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. It's a judo move.
And do the whole,
Well, she herself.
She didn't do that. She went underneath him and threw him with leverage. I watched the clip. She didn't pick him up over his head and like press him.
It's just like the WWE.
Her character has no muscles, though. How can she do it?
It's leverage.
Her character has
leverage
muscles
against
on her.
what?
She's supposed to. From what I've heard, her character is wearing a belt of giant strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even still, though, but what I'm saying, it's an actual judo move.
When she pushes the big guy, she's just pushing herself away from the guy. She's not moving the guy.
What did you watch? Are you on drugs?
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again. I'll have to watch it again and see that actual fight.
Oh, it's Atomic Blonde all over again.
Yeah.
A girl with high heels is able to just drop kick dudes left and right without any kind of balance or anything.
It's a legit move. The one that at least the one that Twitter and some other weirdos are going off on when she throws that guy, it is a legit judo move. And as somebody who's taken martial arts, yes, I can talk. Well, I was able to, not anymore.
Well, in judo, you grab the guy and you do a backflip, and you basically both of you are on the ground. No one's in the air. No one is airborne in judo.
Well, it seems like we're now in the era where the women have to be the heroes and the guys are always the comic relief.
Yeah, it's the Peter Griffin syndrome.
Yeah, the girl shows up to save the guy in trouble. That's how it is now.
I cite the same. I can't even remember the name of the show, but I cite the same thing. It was a Netflix series, the one with Katie Sackhoff in it, like a year or two ago, where literally every guy in that show was retarded or evil. Every one of them.
Yeah.
And every woman on that show was strong and intelligent and powerful. And I thought that
Charlie's Angels movies too.
That's Savage Worlds you just described.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery, same thing.
Who watches that?
Good guy.
Who watches Star Trek Discovery?
That's why they don't watch it. There's no such thing as a good guy there.
Yeah.
All the white guys have their faces covered up because they're ashamed to be on the show.
I couldn't get past like the first episode of Star Trek Discovery when somebody who should have been in prison, I don't care how right she was court-martialed, she should be in prison, was like, come on board my ship. No.
Just with hairier armpits.
Gross. Who is that dumb, oh my God, was it Deadpool 2? God, that was so gross.
Which one, Domino?
I can't remember, but there's a hairy armpit chick. Judo isn't bullshit when you put it in a fantasy setting, though. If she's supposed to be a barbarian,
if you say fantasy, yeah, anything's possible.
She's a half orc. Remember, she's a half orc too.
Is she really?
Girl power.
Yeah, she
girl
is.
power.
Yeah, she's a
happens in
half orc.
fantasy.
I believe she's actually wearing skin paint to make her slightly green.
Oh.
I know.
I thought she was a tall dwarf.
Yeah, no.
But again, when you're talking fantasy setting with, she's supposed to be, I thought, a barbarian or some nonsense or whatever, they're going to have some liberty. I do agree that somebody in armor, sure. But the people were saying that the move wouldn't even be possible. It's like, yes, the move is possible.
Not in real life.
Okay.
Not with judo. Maybe if the guy's on strings and he's being craned around. And then they green screen it all later.
Oh, it absolutely grosses me out. Oh,
I'll have to go on YouTube and watch where women are actually doing that with big hulking dudes. Because remember, there was a cartoon, right, with Bugs Bunny, and he's going to wrestle the Terror. And Bugs Bunny's trying everything he can to get this wrestler guy to come down. And the wrestler guy just takes him off and just throws him like a bowling ball.
No, hey, actually, when I'm making a point, I like to reference cartoons.
Wait. I got to put this one up for Takata.
That's how it is. That's how the girl's basically a 98-pound weakling.
So
now with the CG, they add the muscles and jump it still.
So if it brings in 500,000 new DMs to 5e, remember only 5e.
Wow.
That would mean another 1.25 million players to Dungeons and Dragons. So 5e. Which I think they run the range of, there's between 8 and 10 million players. So they're talking about, a 10 to 15% increase. Oh, this individual thinks that there'll be between a 10 to 15% increase overall for 5e based on this movie.
I have talked to a couple of my coworkers, and they're definitely younger. The longest one has been playing like 10 years, I think. Most of them have only been playing 4 or 5, and none of them are interested in seeing this movie. They are 5e players, Pathfinder players, and none of them are interested in seeing this movie.
Oh, yeah, you see, I would think that like most of us, we're going to see it just because it's kind of like, how do you not see? It's like.
Oh, I'll tell you how I'm not going to see it. I'm going to wait until it's on Heathen Dog's Plex server because I'm not giving those weirdos any money.
Yeah,
I will wait. I have no interest in it.
It's action comedy.
Yeah, it's an action comedy. I'm going to go see it just for the entertainment value of it. I don't expect to grow as a human being from watching this movie. I'm not going to become a better person.
I like Chris Pine in the first Wonder Woman movie. He was pretty good in that.
He was good in the first Star Trek movie too. I liked him in the first Star Trek movie he was in. The second movie was stupid.
Oh, the second movie I couldn't turn off, and I wanted to so badly. The second, I was like, "Is that going to be Khan? Is Cumberbatch playing Khan?" Oh my God! And then when it was Wrath of Khan, because of course, as any legitimate person's favorite Star Trek movie, dude, I so wanted out. I was like, I want off this bus right now.
Yeah, but he was good in the first movie. I kind of liked him. You could see that, like as a young Kirk, you could see that cockiness, and you could see it was believable. The second one. Go ahead.
How much does the D&D 5e cost? The books.
Combined, you're in
The
it
three
for
the
at
three books.
least
Free.
100, 120.
You
If
could
you
probably
get
get
the
all three on
one-
Amazon for 75.
The
Yeah.
people going to the movie, do they even buy books?
No. No.
They're going to look for something to do on their phone,
No.
maybe for D&D.
I use my daughters as a measure, right? So my daughters
To be a DM, you have to have the books, right? Technically, you're the book
technically you need
guy.
the book.
You're the guy with the
Well,
books.
listen, so
How many books are they going to sell after the movie?
my niece is a 20 something. She's like 23 or 24 years old. Went to college, played in college. All right, and she told me that they don't own a single book. All right. And she was, she wasn't the DM, but she said the DM didn't own. All they had was they had the PDF that they copied and handed out
And you
to
can
everybody
go
at the
to
table.
5etools.com and everything's on there.
Yeah. So they, not a single one of them had a book. When I was clearing shelf space, I gave her my
So is she still starving college age?
No, she's graduated from college, but she's and she's in
She's
an
not
industry.
she was not a professional college student.
No, she did her 4
Those
years
people can't
and
afford
graduated. Yeah, no, she did her 4 years and she graduated. She's in graphic. She's a graphic artist.
I'm
so she
sorry,
went
that
to
was
art
my job.
school.
I don't wish that
And-
upon anybody.
Yeah,
Our 30-year-old's gonna up and go to the game store after watching the movie, saying, "I'm gonna
Absolutely
run
not.
D&D games."
No,
Are they gonna watch YouTube videos and see how people play the game and go, "That looks like fun. I'm gonna go buy the D&D books"?
No, they're not. They're just there's
It's just a
not
movie to them,
going
right?
It's just a movie. It's like, and there's no crossover that I've seen from this younger generation. So like I said, my oldest daughter is 20, my youngest one is 17. They're both huge fans of Stranger Things. All right. I said to both of them, even when they were younger, like after the first season, I was like, hey, you know what? I have that game that they're playing. You want to take a look at it? No, I don't want to, no, I don't want to play that game.
It's like your dad saying, "I have World War II books. You want to read through them?" No, I don't read that stuff.
I was like, oh, it's the same game that they're playing. They watch Stranger Things not because there's any relation to Dungeons and Dragons. They like the boys. I mean, that's it. They just like the boys. They like Finn Wolfhard. They like Noah Schnapp. They like the boys in the movie.
They like the characters, not the characters they're playing on the board.
They like the actors that are playing the characters in the you know what I'm saying? It's like they were just boy crazy, and they followed them. They watched them in It. They followed, hey, that kid is really cool too. I'm gonna watch him in a different movie. They just follow the actors that they like. They don't care what they're in. They just follow them wherever they go.
But the actual game only takes place for like 5 minutes in like 3 episodes of the first season and the first episode in the last season.
Right.
The game's not played in pretty much any of the whole rest of the series.
Oh, I missed Cal's thing. Are you?
And the mom's like, "You guys are still playing that game?" Like, he says something like for 10 hours or something. She's like, 10 hours?
Yeah.
She's the type of mom that wants the kids to go outside and get fresh air. But Traveler, you guys know about Traveler, right?
Yep.
There's something called Firefly, and I hear this used all the time when people are trying to sell Traveler to somebody. They say, "You ever see Firefly?" Well, Traveler is just like Firefly. Or they'll say, "Did you ever see Firefly?" Like, "You ever watch the show? Then you'll love Traveler." Or the two have nothing in common. Nobody who plays Traveler was like, "Oh, I need to go check out this Firefly TV show." And no one who watched Firefly is like, "Oh, I'm so interested now in this Traveler role-playing game." It never happens. Once in a while, someone likes both.
Firefly. Here's the way I describe Firefly to people. It's Travelers with the serial numbers filed off. And that's how I've sold the game to people. I have done that. I've been playing Travelers since '79, just as long as I've been playing D&D.
So you have players that jumped on the Firefly bandwagon and watched the show?
No, I had people who watched Firefly jump into playing Travelers because of Firefly.
Now, were they already D&D players?
In one case, yes, and in the other case, no. They were a tabletop player for a game called Starfleet Battles.
Now, what happened when they jumped into your game?
It's all your
Assuming it
DM
was going to
style.
be Firefly.
It's all your DM style. They were both military like I was, and they jumped in and they adapted very quickly to it.
But was it Firefly to them?
Yep. Realistically huge solar system, which most people never picked up on that watched the series. I mean, one star system with what, 78 planets?
I have a feeling your friend would have joined your game anyway.
Maybe, but he wasn't a sci-fi nut. He didn't want to role play. He was more of a chess player, but chess was too simple. That's why he liked Starfleet Battles, because it's like chess, but chess on crack, and you need a college degree to play it. It's extremely complex game. It's got rule books that make the Silmarillion look small.
Oh, I don't know. I see all kinds of people play that game without issue.
Starfleet Battles?
Somebody's been saying on the Reddit again that you need to have a degree to understand the hard science in Traveler. I always laugh at that because there's no hard sci-fi in Traveler.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it was. That was how it was brought up to me.
It's only as hard as the DM wants to make it.
They say you have a jump drive to go from star to star. That's it. That's all their explanation for it. You don't have to know math to understand that sentence.
That's true.
Because there's no math.
However, I'm friends with one of the devs for the game, and jump space is actually more related to psionics than it is to actual physics. I know. That's a big one. A lot of people are like going, huh?
Which dev, which game?
Dave Nilsson. He was one of the devs for Traveler of the New Era. And he got that from Mark Miller.
He's made it so Cal in two different.
When you read the Agent of the Imperium,
is Cal talking about this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah. The Traveler novel explains jump space. Very few people can stare out the window while they're in jump space without going crazy or whatever. Some people, it doesn't affect them at all. But I'll have to check in the New Era and see what it says.
It doesn't. It was on a forums group that he gave this information out.
Oh,
but
so it's not in any book. It's not in any book rule.
Nope. Only thing they came close to it in was in the New Era, where they gave alternative technologies, and they were speaking of the psi drive, the psionics drive.
Oh, okay. Alternate rules then. Yeah.
No, it wasn't alternate rules. It wasn't alternate rules, though.
Hello, Dueling Dragon Adventures.
Dueling Dragons.
Yeah, let me...
Well, either it was alternate rules or it wasn't alternate rules.
Give a couple shout-outs to some people.
It was either published in the book or it wasn't published in the book.
It wasn't
or it was published as alternate rules. If it was just on a forum somewhere, yeah, it's on a server that no one goes to.
Well, YouTube shut down those forums. They don't do the groups anymore. Or not YouTube. Yahoo.
Google. Google.
Yahoo. Yahoo groups.
Yahoo.
It was Yahoo groups.
Yeah.
From a long time ago.
Nothing counts on YouTube. Nothing counts on Yahoo.
Well, it was.
I had a GeoCities. I had a GeoCities homepage. I had a Homestead homepage. I had an AOL account. I had ICQ. I had a Unix account. I had a
Netscape, CompuServe.
Netscape.
Yeah, I had Delphi. I had Prodigy. I had CompuServe with the $sign. I had all that. 300 baud modem. I had all that. I had Fido. ICQ was boss.
I still somewhere have a 5-number ICQ account, and I remember like about 20 years ago I was on there like, how did you have a 5? How long have you been on here? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
mine was 19,000 something.
So you're on even before me, because I was like 89,000 or something like that. But most people had like 7 or 8 number long accounts.
Well, it got up to like 1 billion at one point or something. I was like, what?
But hey, that BattleTech thing I want to mention just real quickly here. I'm joking about feeling targeted, but I don't know if you guys know, but TPS has actually made 2 videos where he's called Legion of Myth out because he got butthurt over the fact that we had Venger on our show. So F that guy. The first one I let drop. Worried. The second one, once you do it the second time, nope, not now. Now I know you're being personal about this. So.
Yeah, I saw his video about a month ago, I guess, where he went into like he kind of went off the rails on just the OSR in general or something. So I guess he had some kind of a falling out on somebody's Discord.
Yeah, he on one of them he came out and was like, F Legion of Myth, those idiots, or whatever the hell it was that he said there, like whatever. And then the recent one he put in there, well, it's not cool to talk about Palladium books anymore, and it's solely because we have our year of Palladium books, and in fact, Kevin Simbita is going to be on our show on 14th of August.
Nice. But what was his issue with Venger?
Legion of Idiots, that's right. That's what he called us. His issue with Venger, because Venger put out that product, the 2 in a row, basically. One was that Supreme Court thing. The other one was the abortion thing. We had Venger on the show, and we called Venger out on the show. But at the same time, we believe in free speech. Yeah. So, I think Venger should put the product out. I also don't like politics in my game. So, you know what? We're going to say something about that. But apparently TPS lost his freaking mind.
Mad. TPS got mad because he's trying to sell games on drive-thru. And then Venger goes and does this thing, and now there's this Venger rule. And TPS's stuff kind of
it's risky. Well, at least the covers
around the Venger rule. So now he's worried that he might get some of his stuff canceled, all because of some chucklehead. Yeah. Some chucklehead named Venger is on purpose trying to get drive-thru to, I don't know, just chain react or something, which it did.
Suck it up, Buttercup. It's not all it's not all about you.
TPS doesn't want the pot stirred with nonsense. Just sell your books. Just make good books. Sell them. Just do that. Instead of trying to make things political and see, oh, look what they did to me, look, and then make a blog about it, and he's getting the publicity in the meantime, stuff like that. And now we got this stupid rule we have to live with on drive-thru because of him. So that's what he's mad about. He was still mad about it when Max was having him on his channel.
Well, and it's funny. I have a tweet. I don't directly quote DMs because DMs are private for a reason, and even if it's somebody I don't really like anymore, I'll still respect that. But I have a DM from him essentially saying that he thought I was a good moderator because I'm actually. I mean, DM Bluddworth. I was one of the first people to have JSG on. I didn't even know who the hell he was, and we had a conversation. I was the reasonable one with him. Go figure. That was weird. But the thing is, when I have people on, I'm not going to disrespect them. We had TPS on. I know I don't agree with him politically, but he had some books he wanted to show. He knows Palladium, so we were talking to him about that. We thought it'd be fun. And he actually said, hey, it's something like, I don't remember the exact words, don't sell yourself short, blah, blah, blah. You're a good moderator for this stuff. And then like not even a month later, he's like, Legion of Idiots, blah, blah. There is no point for TPS. He doesn't get to dictate what other people put out there. He can dictate his own stuff. And like I said, I'm not a free speech absolutist where I even think that criminal activity, like literally illegal activity should be just put out there. But, sensitive topics, all that other nonsense, Venger stuff was put in the adults only section. So there's no reason for anybody to freaking complain. There is he might have a personal point like this could affect me. Well, too bad.
No, you can
like,
curse on mine. I don't care.
It's like grow up.
But now the rule also includes if you're friends with RPG Pundit, can you publish something on drive-through, or will it get canceled?
And that shouldn't be.
Well, yeah,
that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing a month ago.
Is so the Red Room got caught up in it too, and they produce awesome stuff. The Red Room, I think that both Miguel and Sylvia are, especially Sylvia. Sylvia is a problem for them, right? Because she's a, because and I don't even think that she's like super conservative. She's just like a regular, a regular person.
These are normies.
Yeah, and they don't know how to handle a woman who is not inside that box because she's unafraid to push back, and it's a, that's what makes them really dangerous. But the other thing because I speak to them a lot. I haven't had them on my channel for a while, and I was on their channel as well. But I think that what's going on here also is that drive-through is run by an American corporation, right? Or it's an American company. And I think that there's somewhat of a cultural clash going on here because, you have people like the Red Room, they're out of Portugal. They just have a different way of looking at things. And you can see the difference between European and American social norms, right? They are much more like in the UK, they're much more promiscuous, let's say, than what would fly in the United States. We're much more prudish when it comes to sex when you're coming over here, but we're much more open to violence than they are, with the exception of the horror genre. All right. Whereas Germany, and Max, you probably know this better than most. Germany is like, you're free to do whatever, as for in the sexual context, but violence is almost, you can't do it. I mean,
unless it's like a crazy caricature. If it's caricature violence, like you said, kind of like horror, then they just see that as, they don't see it as real. Being adult. Right. But violence is something. Of course, the whole N-word nonsense over there. You can't show anything that's red, white, and black. But that's about it.
But even like some of the, was it Call of Duty was first banned there?
Wolfenstein.
Or Medal of Honor. I think Medal of Honor might have been the first one.
I know one of the recent Wolfensteins was actually banned in both Germany and Austria.
Right. So yeah, they're much more sensitive about violence there, other than in the horror genre, than they are about sexual context. And you get the exact opposite here. So I think that's part of it too. The other thing that I saw that was a really interesting comment on Twitter was that the Venger rule might not have been necessarily the Venger rule. The Venger rule might have been coming down the pike anyway, because they were about to merge with Roll20. And Roll20 is much more woke than Open Bookshelf was.
Who was it that Roll20 went after like 3-4 years ago? I know one of them was Taking 20, but there were like four promoters of Roll20 who wanted to do something for them because they promoted that resource a lot. And Roll20 basically came back to him and said, "We don't need any more white guys talking about our stuff."
That was Taking 20, I think, said that. He had a video around the same time, and he said, no, but don't trust them, because this is, and he might have been the one that actually first proffered that idea that this was coming down the pike anyway. You might be giving Venger too much credit, or too much blame for this rule. This rule was probably going to come down the pike anyway.
Well, just watch the Roll20 commercials. You'll see who the actors are in those game sessions. That's their audience.
Yeah, I've never seen the Roll20 commercials, so
They show up when I'm trying to do a live stream of someone's stream, and it comes up all the time.
Really?
Yep.
That's when you're trying to when you're
When
trying
want
to
to play a
share
video,
screen.
I want to play a video. I have to watch this. I have to sit through for 5 seconds of some commercial. It's always that commercial.
Oh,
it was around the time that the space hamster was showing up. It was a thing. It was a trending thing on YouTube. So all the commercials were sort of similar to Spelljammer.
Hey guys, I'm gonna pop on out of here. Got some food coming, and I need to get back to this video. So thanks for having me on, and have a good one.
All right, have a good
See
one.
you later.
Okay.
Now, when you say space hamster, are you referring to spam?
No.
That's what I always call space hamsters. I know what they are.
Space hamster character, yeah. There's a space hamster character. Let's see who else we have in private chat. Okay, Max, gotcha. All right, let's see. Roll20 would ban you to use looking for a group function to look for only men, but they have people looking for only women. Yeah, I'm sure. I've never. I would never even think of doing that. I mean, it's like
a lot of RPG companies do the same thing. They have a safe place for women to come into their headquarters store and role play without any men, but you don't hear anything about it afterwards.
Well, didn't Gen Con just had the BIPOC room, right? Was that Gen Con? Yeah, they had the BIPOC room. And my response to that was, and I don't care if this comes off as racist or whatever, but my response to that was that if I was sitting in a room and we saw like a large group of people that just people of color or whatever, just walk out of the room and go into another room, knowing that the purpose behind this was to give them a separate and a separate space away from the rest of us. I said, what would they respond to? Like, how would they respond if everybody left in the room that they just vacated, stood up and gave a standing ovation that they all left, and just applauded it and said, hey, you know what? You're taking yourself out of our space. How are we supposed to, deal with that? It's like you're creating, you're creating a situation that's unnecessary. Because we probably weren't thinking in that space. I'll give you a perfect example.
It's all political activism.
Yeah, when I first entered the mess hall at basic training, all right. So this is 1990, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Walk into the mess hall, and we sit down, and originally when we first got there, we were kind of segregated by state. So there was 22 of us from the state of New York, and we traveled together. We were always on this, the same group. We ended up in the same platoons. We, until they mix after that. We had the 3 days of, actually we had closer to 2 weeks of TRADOC, and then we went actually into our basic training platoons. So we walk into this, into the space. We sit down, and we're sitting down in the mess hall, and then all of a sudden the drill sergeants start coming through, and they start breaking up different table seatings. And at first we thought they were just mixing, the different states, because that's, we figured they would eventually break that up. But they actually, after a couple of days, we started realizing that they were desegregating tables. They were making sure that you had a mix at every single table. Meanwhile, we're sitting there, we're like, we're all green. We're all this, we're all the same. The color didn't matter. We were all in the same uniform. We were all green. And it's like when you recognize race, that's, when the rest of us aren't doing that, that's a racist thing. It's like you're trying to heal a wound that did not exist. And that was, that was my whole thing. Like when we went to advanced training, and I was in an 8-man room at that point, and there was 2 of us, myself and one other person, one other, white guy from Tennessee, and the rest of the room, the other 6 were all black guys. And they were all talking, and they were using the N-word wide open, freely, shooting dice and just bullshitting. And we were just talking with them and everything. But eventually I just stopped, and I was like, listen, I said, I've heard the N-word more in this room in just the last 15 minutes than I had in my entire life growing up in the 1970s through 80s, as a kid, as a teenager, and then into young adulthood. And I just don't. And they said, well, I said, would you get upset if Tennessee or I used that, word? And they were like, no, because we're all the same. We're all green. There was no racial, there was no racial component to our grouping. And that's where, when they do this thing with the BIPOC room, all right, and I'll put this out there, so the BIPOC should have a skin color chart to verify admittance. Yeah, is that how they do it? It's just crazy to me. It's just such a it's just such a stupid, unnecessary thing that our hobby is doing, and many times our culture as a broader culture is doing. It's just creating divisions that don't need to be done.
Be careful if you say you're colorblind, because that's racist now.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I saw that in my school system when you see, I was the union rep in my school, and a long-standing union rep. All right, I had gone through 6 principals in my in my time as a union rep, 4 of which got fired, actually. And when I first saw, we had this professional development meeting where they were trying to roll out critical race theory, and they started talking about the various issues that they were going to address. And there was a person from the outside, and I tried to change the conversation to, no, it's otherism that we need to be on the lookout for. Kids are picked on, especially in the middle school. Kids are picked on if they're too fat, if they're too thin, if they're too light-skinned, if they're too dark-skinned, if they are Mexican, if from a
Every
Dominican
kid gets picked on.
They
Every
got picked
kid.
on. Yeah, I says it's all
It
if
doesn't matter.
there's the first Asian kid to our school was picked on, because they were the first Asian kid to the school. I was like, if there were white kids in the school, they were picked on. If there were light-skinned Hispanic kids, they were picked on because they were too light-skinned. If there were really dark-skinned kids from West Africa, which we were starting to get, when the Yemeni kids started coming into our school, that was a big thing. And we had to look at, I was like, it's not just, we didn't have any Caucasian kids in our school at the time that they were trying to do this. So I said, no, you need to focus on otherism. You need to focus on the bullying that's going to take place, not just bullying directed at African-American students, because it doesn't exist here. There's far more other stuff going on that, what you're looking to do is just, and then you're trying to force the teachers in the room, which was probably nearly a 50-50 split between, Caucasian and Hispanic or African American. It was a pretty mixed faculty, and I was like, this is just making everybody else, myself included, and my members, uncomfortable to even try to discuss anything, because as soon as you said something like, oh, it's about otherism, they shut it down right away. So then I walked up to the principal, brought him aside and said, listen, I'm going to walk every one of my members out of this room right now. If this doesn't stop, it's going to end. And he said,
critical race theory is the thing now.
Well, it's only the thing in schools that allow it to happen,
or public schools that
mostly
blue-colored states.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a union rep in a South Bronx school in the city of New York, as liberal as blue, as deep blue as you can get.
And did you escape?
And
are you in the process still?
Well, no, I retired. I retired on July 1st. So after 26 years, and it's just, I was able to tell the principal, because he knew my track record. He was my 6th principal. He knew about the 4 that I had removed. And I said, listen, I'm going to walk us all out of here. I says, because it's just inappropriate. They're not willing to listen, and they're shutting down people responding, the way that they feel that they were responding. So this is not professional developing. You're not developing a damn thing here. And I will shut it down. And he didn't want the embarrassment of all of us walking out, because it was an outside vendor coming in, and so it was like, all right, we're going to break out into different groups, and basically we just kind of dispersed and left, without it being as, he kind of stepped in and said, we're going to do different breakout groups. And if anyone wants to stay and talk with this person, then they're welcome to stay, but we're going to go into different groups and break it out. And basically it was bottom line, all of you can go home if you don't want to stay for this, and
breakout means break out. Session has ended.
Yeah, the session has ended. And that's exactly what happened. And they never came back again, because I told them, I says, I'll file a grievance and I'll bring it up, if they try to come back in here again. And they never did. So in the public schools, if they, quite frankly, if they have a strong union rep that is looking out after their members, they're going to break that thing up. They'll break it up real fast. I've ended many, many meetings that I just thought either the principal was going off the hook, or whoever they brought in was just, going off the hook, and nope, we're going to put a stop to it. So, and we need that in this hobby, where people actually push back and say, no, we're not going to accept this. This is our space as well. What I'm saying? And we're not going to let our space push us out just because we're saying, well, we don't want the politics in our gaming.
Well, that's when you find different avenues to game in, because the friendly local game store, what they've done now is they're just doing Warhammer or Magic cards. They don't even want to deal with us white role players who've been DMing for 30 plus years. They don't want to deal with that in their store anymore. So they relegate roleplay to a bottom shelf in the corner of the store. You have to look for it. It's not out in the open like the Magic stuff is or the Warhammer stuff is. And they say, oh yeah, we on Sunday, they pick a day of the week that no one wants to be there. That's when they do D&D roleplay. All the cool nights that people are there, that's when they're doing Warhammer or the card game stuff. So that's what they've done. They said, okay, no, I don't know if it's a woke thing or if it's a conservative thing. They just don't want drama in their store with these pink hairs, because the pink hairs so far haven't invaded Warhammer, have they? As far as I know,
no.
It's normally just military guys and some college dudes. That's about it.
Well, maybe not at the not where they're playing at the thing, but Warhammer, the company,
the guys that buy
Games
the minis
Workshop?
and paint them.
Yeah, but Games Workshop has gotten woke.
Yeah, that's true. Well, all companies have gone woke, but
yeah,
some of the customers are still.
No, you go in there, it's still a sausage fest. What I'm saying? Like they just there's been a whole bunch of videos coming out with walkthroughs of Historicon, which was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, last weekend, I believe. and
Which con?
Historicon.
Historicon. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It looks like it's all miniature wargaming. Various types.
Historical.
Historical miniature wargaming.
SPI, Avalon Hill, if you're
Yeah,
lucky.
that kind of
but
stuff. Well,
mostly the newer stuff.
Mostly, miniatures. Not the check. The chits or whatever.
Games like Dust and
yes. So
the Star Wars space figure game, whatever they call that one.
No, this was almost all historical.
Oh, all historical?
Yep. So Napoleonic, you had look it up. You'll see it.
Okay.
You'll see Napoleonic. There was Roman. There was individual battles. Very specific battles. There was a Civil War battle. I believe there was
that's cool.
There was a Native American and
so no girls
cavalry battle. Probably not a single one. The
only time I see a girl in a game store around here is she's a cosplayer, and she just walks around the store getting guys to do selfies with her. She knows nothing about the hobby. She's just dressed up really cool, and she's just there promoting something, but
promoting her next calendar,
I guess.
The Ginny D player.
So that's always neat, going in and see a legit. I mean, the outfit looks authentic. It doesn't look like something you bought from Party.
Oh no, they make
City.
those outfits. Yeah, no, they make those outfits. That's the. I mean, there's a talent there.
But there's always a Renaissance
costume
thing
and everything. Yeah,
going on. And I have to work, so I don't get to go to any of these Renaissance things. So I'm curious. I see people driving around dressed up like they're from the Princess Bride. And it's like, where are you guys going? Oh, there's a Renaissance. We're on our way there. It's like, what? Take me with. But no, I'm not dressed at all. And most of the game stores near me are going woke, slowly but surely. But they'll all go out of business, and then someone else comes in business, and they're not woke. But then eventually they go woke, and then they go out of business. It's a trend. It's seasonal thing.
Well, here's the one from my local friendly game store. I go to every few months just to double check, but they still require everyone to wear a mask.
Mask, yes. That's why I don't go.
Still.
Where is that?
West Virginia,
this is
right? The place I used to live in, Maryland.
Oh.
I go there every 3 months or so just to see if they're still doing the dumb shit. And I'm like, I opened the door. I said, still wearing masks? Yep. Say, I'll see you when the mask requirements are over. And then I walk out the door.
Yeah, California, you have to be masked and vaccinated. I'm neither one of those. So it's like, okay. I'll wait for my friend to get whatever they need, and I leave. I don't go inside.
So you're still a pureblood.
Well, I never get flu shots. I'll just take the flu. I'll just get the flu. I'll be sick, and then I'm immune to that flu forever.
Yeah. I mean, the flu has been around for how long, and there's still no vaccine for it? There was never, ever going to be a working vaccine for this, and there won't be a vaccine for monkeypox.
They just call it.
Why? Because viruses mutate.
Flu shot. Yeah.
Viruses mutate.
There
will never be a vaccine for it.
So there are specific characters in Warhammer that are women, right? They're not called shield maidens. But I know there's been this like dispute, like they want to have female space marines, and you can't have female space marines in Warhammer. But there are an all-female group, almost like shield maidens kind of group in Warhammer. Does she still have a
YouTube channel? I used to follow her like 10 years ago. If it's the same Lady Warhammer, she was part of the RPG Brigade.
Just call them Valkyrie. Just call them Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Space Marines females. Just call them Valkyrie.
I think I got kicked out of our RPG Brigade.
Well, she had a video of female something that she was painting.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
there are female characters in Warhammer. There's a female unit or a division of units that are just females. It's almost very similar to like a shield maiden, to use that expression, but they can't be space marines. By the lore of the game, they cannot be space marines. And that's, I mean, I've never played Warhammer, never got into it when I was a kid. You know, when it first came out, I looked at the Warhammer Fantasy, and I was like, it's too. I was never miniatures focused, and that's what I always got from Warhammer, was that you needed to use miniatures for it. We barely use miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons, so I just wasn't something I followed that much.
Some of the YouTube channels I've watched were so-called girls painting miniatures, but they're really dudes as transvestites, and I can't play that game, so I can't watch those videos. Because the whole time I'm thinking, just paint the thing. I don't want to see your nails. I don't want to see you trying to sound like a chick when you talk. It's too distracting. The lady, I'm going to have to look her up now. the lady Warhammer lady, she's still around?
Is that it? Yes, Sisters of Silence and Sisters of Battle in Warhammer. Sisters of Battle was the one I heard of. Yeah, Sisters of Battle was the one I heard of. I don't know if Mirador is still here. Oh.
Yeah, I don't see her channel anymore. I think she got a real job.
Mirador, are you still here?
Yeah, I took a break. My wife had a break, and I'm waiting in the next stage for you to bring me
sorry.
back.
Yeah, I didn't see you. Oh, you probably sent me a private chat, right? Can you let me back in? Oh, no.
I was going to.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So let's see. Dungeon Simp, let's say. They just want to break up all the male spaces. Yes, that's true. I absolutely believe. And welcome, Dungeon Simp. I don't think I've recognized your name before. So, Rational Ginger. Great name. People arguing for settings to update their lore. Never cared about the setting in the first place. Yeah, I know. It's like, it's very similar to that, real world analogy I was making with the, if you're breaking up the makeup of tables that organically sat down to create some kind of a gender or racial diversity at all tables, then you're basically, you didn't have a belief that that people sitting at those tables were sitting there just out of just the organic nature of, I came in, there's a seat, I sat down. I didn't worry about who was at the table, at the time. And that's really how I look at my gaming too. It's like when I start up a new campaign and I open it up to, I open up a campaign to, 10 players to sign on or 8 players to sign on. First 8 players that are in, I don't care what you are, the first 8 players are getting seated. Then we go through and we talk, all right, this is what the game is going to be like. This is, the campaign that I'm looking to run. And if you stay, you stay. If you move on, you move on. Once we get to the point that I feel I need to bring more people in, then I open it up. It's first come, first serve. It's always first come, first serve. And that is, true diversity in my mind. And it's true organic diversity. It's whoever shows up is welcome to sit down, and that to me is the only real way to do it. Even if I were in person sitting at a table in a local game shop, and I say I'm going to run a game, I'm going to run Castles and Crusades, the first 4 or 5 people that come into the room that want to check out the game, they're going to sit. I don't care what, if there's 10 people and I don't have room for them, I'll tell them, listen, I will create another time slot for you 5 if you want to come in, the next time, or alternate it between 2 different groups. you're welcome to sit around and watch as we go through it and decide if you want to. But I'll accommodate other groups later on. But but never would I sit there and say, well, oh, sorry, I got, I have 5 white guys sitting at my table. You two will have to leave so I can bring 1 and 1 from some other group. No, it just doesn't work that way. That to me is a much fairer way of running a gaming table. And anytime that anyone is trying to artificially change that, that's a problem. That's a problem that we should point out and say and push back on and say, no, this is not acceptable. In the space that I want to occupy. I want true diversity, true opportunity, and not anything that's artificial and fabricated.
I was looking at Layson Steele's channel, and he's still going off on his transphobic rants. Why doesn't he ever do a video on heterophobia? He never does.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just talk about role-playing games.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about just talk about role-playing games. I mean,
he talks about being threatened, but he never says who's threatening him.
Nobody threatens him, and nobody threatens him. And
unless he's trying to get subscribers, maybe sympathy subscribers.
He's a well-known D&D author. If he's struggling to get survivors, or whether he wants to call himself a she or whatever, I don't know. But he's a well-known and a very good D&D author. So why is he struggling to get subscribers? The only reason why he could be struggling to get subscribers is because he is making his channel overly political or agenda driven. If you don't want to call it politics, then it's agenda driven, because Paul Kidd is an excellent writer.
Yeah, and he knows a lot about role playing from the 70s.
Yes,
he was there. He was there.
He did the Greyhawk Adventures. He was he was doing Greyhawk Adventures. So White Plume Mountain is his.
But the minute that ESG thing happened, all my friends were like, hey, I can make money staying at home and claim mental whatever and get paid to not do anything.
Hey, thank you, DM James. I think that's my very first super chat. I don't think I've ever gotten a super chat before. So thank you for that. And so he kind of wishes
the part where I make you walk naked in the snow for 10 miles to go to school one way, or the part where I take you to a baseball game and you get to catch the home run at the end of the 9th inning. What?
Now, DM James,
my dad was a rocket scientist. He was never around, so I don't know what the dad thing would be like. But thank you anyway.
Yeah. So his he wrote several Greyhawk books. I think at least 3. I was following his ranger character, and for some reason his name is slipping my mind now. I have them all on audiobooks actually. And he like I said, the stories were really, really interesting, really good stories, good side characters. He's an excellent writer. And if he is struggling to get subscribers, it's solely based on the fact that, what he's doing on his channel is turning people off, because he's not building a Justicar. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Takato. And
now if Paul is going on Facebook and Reddit and Twitter, then of course he's going to get flack wearing the cat ears and stuff. No one's going to take him seriously.
Yeah.
So all he has, his only ammo is to call everyone transphobic.
Yes, it's like, and then complain that you don't have subscribers. It's you're not going to get subscribers, and
he's
like
going to do this. He'll do the death spiral thing, or the self-fulfilling prophecy, and he'll just get more and more frustrated. A lot of my friends from the RPG brigade, they're now dressed up as women, and they're in the same boat he is. They thought, well, I can get more subscribers by doing this, because that's just, the earth is cranking out more trans people than normal people. That's how they think. So they're going to get more subscribers going that way. And I'm like, I don't know. And then they say, oh, you're transphobic. You're heterophobic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I use their weapon against them.
Yeah. Didn't that there was a congressman, what's his name? Getz or Gates, however they pronounce his name. And they said, they either asked him a question like, aren't you concerned that people are going to get, they're going to get,
nope.
Oh shit. No, he said, let them be,
or let them go crazy.
Yeah. Let them go crazy or what they say. Yeah, crap.
I said that was one of the,
they're offended. He said, what do you say to the people that are offended? Be offended. Be offended. You just, I was like, wow, that was super base. It came straight out and just like super based. It was just like, go, be offended. Go right ahead.
That was John Talks, right? On YouTube. He does those short 30-second videos.
It was it was the Black Conservative. He does really good videos too. The Black Conservative. So
okay, I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, he takes a look at all these other comments and everything like. I mean, he's super conservative. He's probably more conservative than I am.
Is he American or is he?
No, yeah, he's American.
Somewhere?
Yeah, no, he's American. Yeah,
because a lot of them are in Africa laughing at what African Americans are doing. They just go ballistic over there. They're like, "What do you?" And I like their accents in Africa.
Yeah, I've always, I've like I said, I worked in the New York City public schools for 26 years, and I've been in the South Bronx all of that time, and I've had very, very diverse teachers and less so diverse students because they're all either Hispanic from one group or another, or African American. However, we have had some influxes of people from like the Middle East, influxes from West Africa. So some of those, just different areas. That and really like the Yemenis all came in when Yemen was having its big thing about 4 or 5 years ago. I kind of lost my train of thought, but certain groups, I mean, they've always wanted to separate themselves and say, oh no, I'm not like these. Growing up as a kid, I know
I'm not like the other girls.
Yeah, well, growing up as a kid, the sister of my best friend was a kid, Aaron Haig. Never forget Aaron Haig, and his sister. I think her name was Debbie. She was older. She was like maybe 10 years older than us, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm Jamaican. Don't ever call me, African American. I'm Jamaican. My family. And that's true. They, did not like it. And West African, very the same thing. My next door neighbor is West African, and he's very, very conservative, very, just very, just goals oriented, education, blah, blah, blah. All my kids are going to do this. My kids are going to VMI. My kids are going to MIT. My kid, just boom, 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 just like constant work like a dog all the time. It was like even when his kids were in college, they were still working and going to college and doing this, and it was also just pushing. Tried to say, like, they have no connection to, like an inner city family that's a broken family. That's
Oh, yeah.
like they have no connection, no concept of that,
Yeah.
and probably coming from worse conditions, than any of their counterparts here, have had to suffer through, and so it's just a weird thing when you see the real dynamics, and when people kind of really get mixed in with each other, and you start seeing, these differences, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the commonalities, and there are far more commonalities. That we have far more in common than we have differences. And these kind of people that push these different agendas, they're pushing for the differences. They think the difference is what's going to bring them attention, is by focusing on difference. And I think that's the problem with it, really, is that people just focus on the differences too much.
Well, those people think that the pie of money is one pie and they want the biggest slice. Mm-hmm. What they don't realize is that money doesn't work that way. It's not just one pie. Yeah. Economy will make more pies. There isn't just one pie forever that everyone has to fight over. There's going to be thousands and millions of pies. Everyone gets as many pies as they want. You just do the thing, do the American thing, instead of haggling about, there's this one pie. I want this piece. I want it, because they think money is like was static, or money is like what's the word?
No, not static.
Not
finite, infinite.
Finite. There's like
finite.
They
finite.
They think money is only finite. That all the money there is in the world.
They mentioned zero net gain, right? Zero net gain.
Well, if we've learned anything over the last few years, it's not finite, because they keep printing more of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way to get more money, but the money's not worth as much. Or you can create wealth.
It's zero-sum gain, right? They believe that, you can't give to somebody without taking from somebody, and there's that's just not always true. It's like, just because I'm earning something doesn't mean that somebody else is losing, and that's what they're opposed to, because that's what leads to the one thing that they really hate, and that is a meritocracy. All right. If everything is based on how much you put into it, and you'll get more out of what you put into it. That's why the equality is. I have no problems with equality. I have no problems with equal opportunity. Equity is a problem.
Equity is the evil.
Equity is the problem, and
liberals change the names of things so they can bat us over the head with it.
When we first, because I was always because I was a union rep, so I could always be a wise ass. When they first came out with that picture, very famous picture of the kids looking over the fence to watch a baseball game. All right, and the tallest kid has 3 boxes he's standing
one's
on.
One's on a box.
Yeah, one's on 2 boxes and one's on only 1 box. And so they're presenting us this thing, and they says, "Oh, well, equity would say that you take from the one kid and give to the other kid." So I raised my hand. I was like, "Excuse me." I says, "Isn't it important to know what the sources of the boxes were? Did the kids bring their own boxes? Were the boxes provided, by the stadium? Well, that's about. Well, no, that's not important. The importance is," I said, no. If the kids brought their own boxes, then the shortest kid with the 1 box might ask the tallest kid with the 3 boxes, "Well, can I borrow one of your boxes?" And if the kid decides yes, you can, you allow the generosity to take place. But who has the authority to go to this kid? If the kid owns the 3 boxes, I'm going to take a box away from you and give it to. Is that the government that's going to do that? Is that the stadium ownership that's going to say, "Oh no, you have to"? They couldn't get away from the fallacy in their whole thing. They didn't know what to say to it because they knew that no matter what they answered, it was going to be wrong. All right, because really the true answer was the government will take it away and give it to the redistribution. All right, from I'm gonna it's late, so it's gonna be like from from those who have to those that need. You know what I'm saying? So classic, Marxism. We're gonna take from you to give to you because you don't really need that. Then I started to go, so couldn't get past the person. And I said, well, listen, maybe the kid that has the 3 boxes that's tall, he's not comfortable. He needs to be able to hang over the fence in order to be comfortable because, maybe he has some kind of a medical condition or something. Just keep on trying to punch holes in what their whole premise was. And, eventually they just stopped using it because we don't see it anymore, because I think too many people started punching holes through that image.
Yeah, equity is real easy to punch holes through.
Yeah, because you never have an equal input.
Why don't people just teach meritocracy anymore? That way you work hard, you learn, you do the good thing, you get rewarded. They don't believe in meritocracy. You earn it.
They don't believe in it.
I know, but
they do not believe in it because it does not.
It's against their principles.
It's against their Well, I don't think they're principles.
The communists don't want you.
Yeah, it's against the communist doctrine. All right,
they don't want you to earn your own living.
And no, because they want you to be dependent on the government. And
so where did you learn all this stuff, DM Bluddworth?
When I was growing up, I mean, the schools were not.
Did you read 1984? Did you read?
Yeah, when I was in school, yeah.
Brave New World.
No, I graduated from high school in 1985. I didn't really start. So I started teaching. I started teaching in 96. All right, and I had.
Now, where did you grow up, though?
I grew up on Long Island, New York.
Long Island.
Long Island, New York.
Near Bayshore and all that.
Yeah, I was actually born in Hempstead. I grew up in, lived a couple years in Hempstead, then, grew up in Sayville.
Did you live in one of those Levitt towns?
No, we were further out than Levittown.
Okay.
Hempstead changed around 1972 or so. I mean, so Hempstead literally flipped in demographics in the span of like 2 years.
What was happening there?
It went from like 90% white to 90% African American immigrant.
Was there like some industry there that wasn't there, or?
I don't really know what brought it about. I was too young at the time to really understand it. I just knew that we left in 70. I was born in 67. We left around when I was in like second grade.
Maybe
no, I wouldn't say it was taxes. I don't know what really opened it up that way.
Where I lived, it was all aerospace. So all the houses were being built just to support
the other thing that changed, if you know anything about
stuff.
What it was that they didn't build the Long Island Expressway until 72.
Okay.
All they used to have that went out to the further parts of eastern Long Island was the Garden State and the Southern State Parkway. And the things about the Garden State and the Southern State not Garden State, I'm sorry, Grand Central and Southern State Parkway. All right. Those two parkways had low bridges. All right.
Yeah,
and the big thing about Robert Moses, who was the contractor basically, or the designer of all of the highways on Long Island, was that Robert Moses designed it where you would keep the city people out of Long Island by having low bridges over all the highways. But in 72, they started building the Long Island Expressway, or they completed the Long Island Expressway. And that's what opened it up all the way out to Riverhead. All right. Because the expressway goes all the way out to Riverhead, and that opened it up.
What would the low bridges prevent from happening?
City buses couldn't go through.
Oh, buses. Okay.
Yeah. So city buses couldn't go through. That was the main transportation for people in the city to travel
That was
by.
kind of evil, don't you think?
Of course. Yeah. Oh, there was no denying. There was no denying the fact that he wanted to keep New York City people, primarily African Americans, out of Eastern Long Island, and that's how it was designed. They wanted to keep them away from Long Beach and Lido Beach and all the beaches along that, and then further out. So, oh no, that was by design. But the Long Island Expressway changed all that, because now you had city buses coming out there. So
where I live, I moved here like 30 years ago. It was all blacks. I was the only white person. That lasted a few years. Then everyone was Mexican except for me. That lasted maybe 10 years. Then everyone was Russian. I don't know where the Russians were coming from. There's like the Soviet bloc, the 89, the wall came down.
Oh yeah, the wall came down and they got
Russians ended up
free
here.
To come. Yeah.
In 93, Russians were, or was 94, 95, Russians were everywhere. But then most of them went back to Russia because they couldn't handle living in the States. They wanted to be told what they're supposed to do and when and how.
Yeah.
The free mind wasn't a thing for them. Then Arabics moved in because of Kuwait, the Gulf War.
Yeah.
So that was a thing. And now the blacks have moved back in. So I don't know what's going on. It's like a circle. Maybe the Russians will come back. Who knows? But I'm still just the only white person here the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up in Hempstead. I lived in Hempstead until about 70, like I said, about 74. And some of my best friends, like I said, my best friends were Jamaican. My older brother's best friend was half Jamaican, half Chinese. We were starting to get a lot of people from Vietnam coming in. I remember when they first started coming into our school and everything, because Saigon fell in 74.
That happened way far away from where I'm at. There's a section still. It's all Vietnamese.
Yeah, they started coming in around 74 and everything. That was the first time that I actually became aware, that the Vietnam War was going on. I remember seeing television at night. You'd see all the names of all the soldiers killed.
In the 70s,
every night.
there were Iranians at my high school in the 70s. And when Reagan became president, he let all their visas expire, and they all went back to Iran.
Yeah.
So for 2 years there were Iranian kids, and then that one last year there were none. That was the weirdest thing. And then around that time is when the Vietnamese started showing up, because the Vietnam War was over, so they were starting to, the anchor babies and stuff.
Yeah.
Their whole family comes over when that happens.
Yeah. So it's
not for Iranians.
So I mean, it's kind of interesting because you see, I think that you see in the places that have been these like mixing pots, different groups coming in, going out, and almost a constant, almost organic movement of different different ethnicities or racial groups coming in and out of various areas. You see it more so in New York City than you do other places. And it's still much more organic than, and more diverse for that purpose than what you have going on, in in these fabricated situations, whether they're trying to create it or they're trying to segregate. It's almost like the world is upside down. I know a lot of people say we live in the upside down world now, because now you have groups like those at Gen Con that are saying, oh, BIPOC need to have their own separate space. Can you imagine if any of us that look like us suggested that they do that? Oh, they should have their own room. What? You want to push us into our own space? It's like, Plessis versus Ferguson is now all of a sudden a good thing again, right? Separate but equal. That's fine now. I was like, that's what they're going back to. That they're arguing for Plessis versus Ferguson now. They're arguing for separate but equal now. And it's just an upside down world. And that's because they don't know their history.
So, not to switch gears here, but at the beginning of this stream, you were talking about writing your own RPG. Are you going to write the game mechanic?
No. I was talking about writing content for other ones. I've tried. I was trying to write a pirate themed, more realistic, more historical pirate themed RPG. Working around with the mechanics, and I got bogged down at a couple spots with it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like a mixed RPG / simulation model, and I was kind of basing my idea on
What do you mean by simulation?
Well, in other words, that that when each player character would have a specific role area on the ship and actually operating the ship. So almost like what B-17 had, right?
Like,
B-17
ship operations kind of thing.
Right, the kind of thing. And then based on their own actions and the results of their actions, that would contribute to a pool, like a dice pool kind of thing, that would then determine the outcome of the ship-to-ship battle, or give modifiers to the ship-to-ship battle. So it was kind of like a combination of a, then once they go through the ship battle, then they board it. Now you're back to, individual player characters fighting on the ship. Then they secure the stuff. They go back to their home port, and now they go into the next, like the economic phase of actually doing stuff where you're using real commodities and real, kind of exchange rates, and having to, sell the stuff off and then re-outfit the ship to go out and do it again. So the dungeon, was basically you're on board this ship or on board the ship that you're attacking. And then everything else is just the interaction and the results of each character fulfilling their role. So it was more role playing, like this is the role of my character, rather than role playing like characterization kind of stuff. But and I just ran into, I wrote something like 40 pages of mechanics and materials and various charts and ways of calculating this stuff.
Now, what did you use to write it in?
No, I was just Word, just writing
Word?
in Word. Yeah, just writing it in Word. I was trying to come up with a dice mechanic where I was using just D8s, and I was going to call it pieces of 8, kind of a dice mechanic thing. So I was getting kind of wrapped up in a little bit, it might have been a little too gimmicky, but I was using exploding dice kind of concept as well, where you were rolling 3 D8s, and there was 2 and then the modifier die, basically the exploding die, and so I mean, I'd have to go back to it. This was like 2019 that I really started working on it. And I spoke a little bit to Grim Jim about it, because at the time I was a member on his Patreon, and he was looking to do those little seminars on creating game systems. So I was chatting with him back and forth, and he was actually the one that suggested doing a dice pool rather than stacking up modifiers for things. He said that would probably work a lot better. And then I set it down. I have like attention deficit disorder when it comes to writing. If I don't sit down and just finish the whole thing in all in one shot, then I'll sit it down for like months and then come back to it again. And that's like, I haven't touched that system, messing around with it since I got hung up on the number of ships and types of ships I wanted to include in it. And that's where I was struggling with the
you mean like the scope of the battle, or just the availability of ships in the game?
The availability of ships and the type of ships and the different categories of ships that there would be. I was like, how many, if I'm going to have light frigates, how many light frigates? If I'm going to have, sloops and barks, and am I going to go to, true ships of the line, or I'm going to keep it all smaller stuff because, pirates generally didn't clash with ships of the line. They freaking turned and ran. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was just
either they had the ambush or they didn't, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that kind of thing. They were never, they weren't the bravest of, despite what Hollywood would make a thing. It was like, no, they weren't looking to fight any fights that were fair, and they were actually
like pirates today. As soon as they see the Coast Guard, they're running off.
They run off, and it was like, actually, the successful one was the one where the merchant just surrendered right away, and they had no fight at all. That was the majority of piracy that took place. So it was, again, it was a system that I was just messing around with, and then I was like, I'm not gonna. I'll probably come back to it. And now that I'm retired, I'll have more time to actually start taking a look at it. I don't feel like I'm retired yet because September hasn't rolled around yet. Once school opens up and I realize I'm not there.
When you see kids running around and you're not having to get in a car and go anywhere.
Yeah.
Every day's Saturday to you.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's when it kicks in.
Yeah, that's when it's going to kick in. So maybe.
Yeah, I was retired for like 8 years doing nothing. That was fun.
Yeah, I don't want to do nothing, Saturday. But I
have so many hobbies. I was busy constantly. I can entertain myself. But I was thinking of not writing an RPG game, but the one shots that I do or have done, or my friends have run for me and I've been in. I was thinking maybe just do a PDF, maybe 16 pages, 30 pages tops, or 28 pages tops of like an adventure game.
Yeah.
That was made from a sandbox one-shot.
Yeah.
But not have any rules in it. It's just a setting. These are the NPCs you'll face. You can make these characters if you want. These are the kind of characters you need to generate. But I'm just at the point where I don't know how detailed to make it and what rule set it could, should it be rule agnostic or whatever. What's that term called when you don't need a certain rule set to use?
Yeah, agnostic. Yeah.
Okay.
Agnostic or
like
generic.
That.
Yeah, generic.
Or say, or just flat out say, whatever. It's for Traveler. You need Traveler to play this game. But I don't have any Traveler rules per se. It's just a set.
Right. You could say for Traveler.
And then I have to put the TSA logo and use the TSA look and feel.
Yeah.
Or I could say this is for human races in the sci-fi setting. You pick your own sci-fi game to use with this, and maybe I can have a conversion chart in the back for like the top 5 sci-fi role-playing games or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you usually see. You'll usually see like the only game I really wrote stuff for. I did write one adventure for Gangbusters BX. All right. And
Now that's
So I-
1920s or 1930s.
That was 1920s. All right,
Okay.
and I said it. It was called. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget the name of. I'm gonna forget the name of my own title. Whiskey Creek Runs Red. All
Oh, we
right.
got a spammer. We got a spammer in the
Oh.
chat.
It took a long time.
Lock him down.
Yes, let me lock him down. All right.
They subbed and then waited 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Waited 20 minutes. They waited 2 hours and 34 minutes.
I don't know. I
So-
don't know how you have the chat set up. But
Yeah.
you were. That was quick.
Someone said you could make it where subscribers only, but I don't know how to do that anyway. But anyway, all they have to do is subscribe, and then they could come in. Anyhow, what was I just saying?
You were thinking of the name of your game.
Oh yes. So it was Whiskey Creek Runs Red. And what I did was, because I'm a history teacher, I was like, all right, I'm going to set this in New York City in a, Prohibition era. And I found out that, in 1923 was the first motorcycle patrols of New York City. And so I based it around motorcycle patrol group. Then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have this group of bootleggers. They're actually operating in upstate New York, where they're going to have to travel to. And then I discovered that the only road that actually went up to upstate New York was Route 22. So this was before the Taconic. This was before, and as far as the Route 22 had gone was just north of like White Plains and up into that area. So I put it there. It was like just short of like Peekskill that I was putting the house that they had to go out to. And the Whiskey River Runs Red, the Running Red was kind of a play on words, because there was going to be a big fight, between the police and this gang. But the connection was that the gang was actually connected to a communist anarchist group. All right. And so that's where the red came from, because I was going to tie the Red Scare into it as well, so I was kind of tying the different things together. And
because this is like 3 or 4 years after Lenin shows up.
Right.
Russia.
So so this was all around the same time, same time period. I was doing a play on words. I was trying to make it as historically accurate as possible. I mean, even, researching and saying, well, what the hell road actually went that far? That's how I came up. It was like Route 22, and half of it was like a dirt road, so I did the car mechanics, for driving up there, and there were, charts and everything for mishaps and kind of stuff like that, for it. Although somebody told me that the Indiana Jones game actually has a TSR game actually has the best car chase mechanics of anything that TSR had done, much better than what was in Gangbusters. So I was like, all right, I didn't have it at the time.
Stay away from Shadowrun's card chase rules.
So I mean, that was one adventure that I wrote. I play tested it at Gen Con and, four other virtual conventions at the time. And it's on drive-through. I put it up on drive-through for like $2. It was like a 21 page paper. 21 page, adventure. And one of the things that I did with it is I liked the idea of when the players were doing an investigation, based on their results, it would give them points towards like a pool, kind of, where they could use it to get better results later on. Like, so part of the thing was to actually build a case against this gang and actually get a conviction to happen. Because I looked at the conviction rates, at the time, and it was like it was very hard to actually get convicted of anything back then. You were
tax evasion.
Yeah, you were more likely for the cops just to beat the shit out of you, than you were for them to actually bother arresting you and bringing you through the system. You know what I'm saying? It was like they actually got more out of just, rolling you and taking your stuff than they were for actually going for a conviction. So I went through the whole dynamic of it and everything. And it was a very successful adventure. A lot of people really enjoyed it, and they liked the fact of some of the systems that I actually built into it. I wrote a couple of adventures for Mifrog, which is not a very popular game out there, because Varg Vikernes wrote it, and they're like, oh, it's a that's a game that should be banned. You probably couldn't,
I blocked him 10 years ago. I got in an argument with him. I can't remember what the argument was about, but we did not agree on something, that was for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I always had a decent, cordial relationship with him. I mean, it was never, I never agreed with his, his politics or whatever, but it was like, I liked his game. I thought the game was much better than what they gave it credit for. And he was very open for you just to write. You could write stuff for his game. You could make money off of his game. He didn't care. It was like as long as you just put, some acknowledgement that he created the game, and that was it. There was no, I didn't have to do OGL or anything because it's, got permission from the author of the game system to print, to publish. I mean, just to publish it. So I have a couple things for that. And then I didn't charge money for the OSR, safety tools, the OSR table safety tools. Basically almost like a tongue-in-cheek. Initially, it was tongue-in-cheek, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want this just to be a joke or a mockery. I want it to be a true reflection of how I viewed gaming back, starting out in the 70s and 80s. And this is all the safety tools we needed. It was just, we just played the freaking game. It was like, sit down and play the damn game. No one's going to roll up themselves as a character. So I don't care what you are.
You bring comfort food.
Yeah. It's like,
expect to be at someone's house for 10 hours. Set aside a day. Have a car to drive you there.
Yeah, when we were kids, I mean, we played
ride bikes. Have a bike with working tires. I don't know.
We played 6 days a week, 4 or
6
5
days a
hours every
week?
day. Yes, we played 6 days a week.
What? Okay, what year was this, and how old were you?
From 77 to around 89.
Was this like during the summer or something?
No, we played during school, after school. My whole group was within 2 miles of each other. We used to walk, we used to walk when we were kids.
I walked a mile and a half to my junior high school.
I know. We used to walk when we were kids.
I had a bike,
about
but
walking.
I didn't trust leaving my bike at the school at the time.
Yeah, no, I had my one neighbor. He was right across the street from me. One of my GMs was up the block from me. Another kid was, another one of our members was I'd say about half a mile up the road. And then our first DM, he was about 2 miles away. And we used to, when we used to get out of school, and back then you used to get out of school at like 2 o'clock or something like that.
What?
And we would go to one of our friends' houses.
I was trapped at school from 7:30 until 4:30 almost.
No, we were like 7 to 2 or something like that.
What?
7 a.m. to 2. That's it. And
how long was your lunch? How long was your lunch break?
I don't know, 40 minutes, maybe 40 minutes.
An hour lunch, and I think we had 2 recesses.
We never had. No, we had just the one lunch, and that was recess. There was no.
We had 2 recesses. We were like out playing dodgeball and stuff twice during the day.
No, we had gym, but that was only 40 minutes as well. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, we played every weekday because it was always after school. We went right to somebody's house and we played. And then because our junior high was closer, you know, in our high school later on when, you know, the last couple of years when we were playing as high schoolers, that was closer to our DM's house, the high school. So we used to just walk from there to there. And then later on, either our parents would pick us up or we'd walk the 2 miles to get home. But we played every day, except for Sunday. That was the only day that we didn't play. And not because of religious reasons. It was just, that's usually when, you know, my father made us work around the house. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
doing chores.
Yeah, we were doing chores on
the,
Sundays.
Pick up the dog poop, take out the trash.
Yeah.
Clean the dishes.
No, my father, remember I grew up on Long Island and that part of Long Island, which is Eastern Long Island, this is Sayville, Long Island. There were no sidewalks, you know, they didn't have sidewalks yet. So where the street and your grass met, there was always a strip of sand, you know, and so the sand would kind of spill out onto the street. That was one of my father's pet peeves. He'd be like, go out there and sweep up the sand. It was like, we're on a freaking island. It's like, there's always sand there, you know. Oh, he used to get us up at like the crack of dawn, you know.
Did you guys have a basement?
Yes, we had a basement.
So did you have, who was in charge of pumping water out of the basement?
No, we never had.
You never had to deal with that?
No, never had to deal with that.
Wow.
Yeah, never had any problem with that. Well, Sable's
so
kind of like.
Were you kind of like on
center.
Manhattan? Were you sort of like on that rock that Manhattan's on?
No, the base was sand. It was still
Just
sand. Yeah, we had well water. We didn't have city water. We had well water, but we were on sand. I mean, we got grass. But like I said, the separation between the street and the grass was sand. And he used to make us sweep it. I was like, Dad, we're sweeping sand. It was like we're on a freaking island. There's always going to be sand there. I don't care. Sweep it. It's like,
well, back in California, when you could use water, the housewife neat freaks would every day be out there with their garden hoses, spraying the driveway and spraying the sidewalk of any leaves, dirt, whatever, making their sidewalks and driveways look perfect every day. Just watering their concrete. It was the weirdest thing ever. That was when you could use water in California.
Yeah. Even I mean, other people are saying, like, I remember when I first started teaching in New York City, we were done by 2:20. All right. We were always done. It was like 6 hours and it was 6 hours and 20 minutes a day was our school day. 6 hours and 20 minutes a day.
Ours was at least 8.
Yeah, no, it was never that long.
It was like a working day.
Yeah. Yep, 6 hours.
I want to say it was 8.
I remember doing that too.
30 or
having to wash the driveway. That was like the father torture of children. You have to go out there and wash the driveway. You just have to wash it down with the hose and everything like that. Yeah, washing the driveway was a freaking thing.
Well, DM, I have to get going.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually wrap this up too because my daughter should be coming home in about.
But Squirrel,
see you in a couple days.
Yep, see you in a couple days.
Talk with
Tuesday.
You guys.
Yep, take care, Mirador.
Good night.
Squirrel Hermit, if you're still there, I'm interested in you doing an interview or an examination of me somehow on the interwebs. Contact me on my channel, or I'll see you on your channel. He's asking if we're going to be on his channel.
Oh, I'll go on his channel anytime.
Up in the chat somewhere about an hour ago. At 20 minutes ago, he was saying, "Hey, Knucklehead, yeah, you, DM Bluddworth."
Oh, I see it now. Let's put this in again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, I will see you later.
All right, you have a good one, and I'm going to wrap this up. So, everyone, thanks for popping in. I hope you enjoyed it, and I have to get around to doing some more live streams because this one was a lot of fun. We touched on a lot of different ideas and subjects, and as always, great comments out there. You know, great discussion, great people coming on. You're always welcome. I always open it up. So if you ever want to come on during a live stream, you're welcome to. I usually run these things around 2.5 to nearly 3 hours long. Nothing long haul like 6 hour, 7 hour live streams. But yeah, if there's any topics that you ever want to bring up and come on the show, then absolutely. And Squirrel, I will reach out to you. Leave me an email in the private chat, and then I can best reach you that way. All right, and we could set something up. Okay, so I'll just give you a chance if you're still on, hopefully, to just drop something off in the private chat, and then we'll go from there. All right, so once again, everybody, have a great night. Thanks for popping in. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. Always looking to, build some new groups up and everything and get some one-shots going. That'll probably be my next thing, is to try to get a Castles and Crusades one-shot. I'm looking to write an adventure for it and then play test that. So that's something I'm looking to do sometime later on in August, because I am getting ready for vacation. So as always, thanks for popping in. Have a great night.